sent out a thing to their people saying, we're going to lose $100 million or more. 9 figures, they said.
Mm-hmm.
When you have when you see those kind of numbers and you realize we're the ones who do it.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Ross Matizik is the snapper. Kick on the way, and it is good! John Mayers, welcome to college football. That's his first career field goal.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Miro Heiskanen. There's Hintz flying down that left side. Hintz to the net stop. Rebound under front. Dickinson scores. Jason Dickinson has tied it for Dallas.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Back for Klingberg again. Jamie Benn. Dallas trying to end it. John Klingberg fires and scores! And Dallas has tied the series.
Are you a Sikkim 365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Very well done, Paul, to open up the show. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. I'm David Smoke. Deontay and Amelia, of course, Brian, Ashley and company, Grayson and Jason King, the full throttle of Sikkim365.com and 365 Radio. Also, of course, Sam Bradshaw, among others, that are a part of this growing and flourishing site and radio show. Ben Carlisle from BleedTechBlue.com will join us in about 15 minutes. He covers Louisiana Tech. A.J. Burns of La Vega, Tyler Webb from Conley. They committed over the weekend along with a chunk of players from La Vega, and also Riker and Conley. We'll have that for you today. Those two at 3:30 and 5:10. Meridian High Coach Wade Morton, 4:45. Paul's tour of the Big 12, Randy Peterson, Des Moines Register, a little bit after 4. And former Conley star. Man, I hear all these things about him. I knew him when he was a head coach and assistant coach at Navarro. Johnny Estelle at A&M Kingsville now. We'll have him at 3:45. And Mike Welch, former Baylor safety, who was, he's in that same category with Van McElroy and company, how good he was under Grant Taft in the early to mid-1980s. A lot of things to get to. I was given some good information earlier today. The only reason Baylor and Tech, guys, has not been officially announced as the opening game September 12th is the fact that Louisiana Tech and the Conference USA folks need to shuffle around some games. There's like 2 or 3 games here that they need to move around to make that official. If, in fact, that does not happen for whatever reason, I think you could look at maybe Baylor falling back on not Incarnate Word, but a couple of the schools in the Southland Conference that are now looking for games like Stephen F. Austin, Abilene Christian, among others. So that's where we are with the opening game, and that's kind of why that's taken as long as it has.
Yeah, that's going to feel like they're going to announce it, and then they're going to turn around and have 2 weeks to get ready for it. Which is still pretty much as much time as you need, but it's still, quite the downshift from, thinking about it for months and months.
Well, at least there's conversation that these two teams want to open up, and that would be a tough game for both. Either one of them would be a hell of a game. But at least they know that's who they want, and that's what both schools want. Now the question is, can you move a game with Southern Mississippi or someone else kind of move it around? And we'll have Ben Carlisle kind of explain that for us at 3:15.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It's a great opponent. I think it's the best non-conference opponent along with TCU now once again playing SMU. That kind of went back and forth there for a while, and now TCU and SMU are going to play again on that first weekend, September 12th, less than a month now. And so Baylor and La Tech will be one of the two biggest games, I think, of that non-conference schedule. I don't know how good Tulsa's going to be because they've been so hit or miss, but Oak State does play them, so maybe that's a better game. But, K-State's playing Arkansas State, Blake Anderson's team, so that might be a good little game. I mean, and really, who knows, quite frankly, with how everything's gone, who might be good and who might not. But I'd say those are the ones that stand out as far as some interesting opening games there in the Big 12.
Yeah, lots of things to get to.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some teams play really poorly that are really good at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the year, however long that might be, hopefully all 10 games, they might be juggernauts.
It was good to see that TCU-SMU thing happen. The TCU even gets to play that game at home because that's the Big 12 ruling. So TCU gets that with SMU. That was a 100th game coming up. Couple of notes in college football. This was a stunner to me. Kennedy Brooks, stud running back, is going to opt out of his next year for Oklahoma. And also Kerry Vincent Jr., LSU corner, very good player, apparently is going to opt out as well. This Oklahoma, we know, has a bunch of talent, but my goodness, remember Sermon left? This is a blow, Craig, to Oklahoma, the weapons they have, especially Kennedy Brooks was a difference maker.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Texas fans. I saw one Texas fan in particular post this picture of the stats from last year, and like the top 5, rushers and receivers and everything else are all gone for Oklahoma. I don't worry too much about the offense, especially not the running back position. But, yeah, that's a blow. He was expected to be the bell cow this year, and now he's gone. Kerry Vincent, that's a blow for LSU. But these guys have their sights set on the NFL, and there's been others that have done this, and I expect there will be more.
All right, SEC announces their schedule tonight.
They already have announced their first week of games, and they're all not great matchups. A&M will open with Vanderbilt, and a lot of people are calling this a soft opening weekend, so just in case it does have to get pushed back, there's not any game that's really relevant. It's not like Alabama and LSU are playing early. So it's basically good teams versus mediocre teams, and they're soft opening, if you will.
Well, I mean, they've got to get the easier games for the good teams out of the way because they don't get their cupcakes at the end of the year this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're kind of opening up with not really marquee matchups and just thinking that these might not even happen or they might have to get delayed. So, yeah, we do have the first weekend of the SEC schedule, and at some point today we'll have the full schedule for the SEC as well.
Kamaria McDaniel, we had her on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago. The transfer from Penn State now is official with Baylor. Justin Fields is the one that started the hashtag We Want to Play. The Big Ten parents, players, a lot of people are upset, a lot of pressure on the Big Ten. Nothing's changed, but there is a lot of pressure that happened over the weekend. Now, terrible news for the Cowboys, although they have great depth in the defensive line. They lose Gerald McCoy, former Oklahoma star, Tampa Bay, is out for the year with a ruptured right quadriceps tendon. So he's out for the year. This was the first day teams could go into pads.
Yeah, and he got hurt. And the saddest thing about this is he may never play for the Cowboys now. So they've got Tyrone Crawford back, and he can kind of flex into the defensive tackle role and do that. But they also, they got to see what they've got out of Tristan Hill, who was their second-round draft pick last year, and probably means a bigger opportunity for Neville Gallimore to step up. Their third-round draft pick this year. Antoine Woods and Dontari Poe are more nose tackle type guys. He was more, that 3 technique tackle that's pretty important in the front that Mike Nolan's going to play. So we'll see who rolls into that position. So I think it's probably going to be Tyrone Crawford if you had to pick right now.
And he wasn't playing much last year.
No, I know. And so I would think that Tyrone Crawford is in kind of on a prove-it year that he still has stuff left in the tank because his injuries seem to be kind of wear and tear over a long, tough career that he's had. And he's a good player. He's not Gerald McCoy good, though.
Yeah, Gerald McCoy's been really hampered by injuries here recently. He's on the backside of his career. I wonder how much he really has if he comes back. So that's a huge blow for just him career-wise. And he was so excited to be back closer to home, being in Dallas and being originally from Oklahoma City. So terrible news for him. They should be okay. But I saw where the Cowboys reporters, Clarence Hill in particular, were pissed because
not just him.
Well, I saw him, but I know there were others, yeah, because they were out at practice. They're allowed to be out there, but they've been told they can't tweet. And so somebody out there at practice saw the news, sent it to the national guys, and while the Cowboys reporters are there watching Gerald McCoy injured, Ian Rappaport's breaking the story because they can't tweet it. That's
Fix
ridiculous.
it, Rich. Fix this blank, Rich.
Exactly.
And Tim Cowlishaw brought some notification, a little bit of highlight to that, a little more, hey, that's ridiculous. When you have Todd Archer, Clarence Hill, and others, John Machota, Calvin Watkins, these are guys that are there every day. And they're kind of handcuffed with this. So that'll be interesting to see kind of the backstory to that. And we'll, of course, David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com, those guys as well. Mickey. So he's out for the year. It's the first day of pads in the National Football League. Now, what is it with Baylor wide receivers? Denzel Mims, of course, has got the hamstring issue. They're trying to make sure that they don't push him too much. The rookie out of Baylor with the Jets. Jalen Hurd, MRI, suffered what appears to be a possible major knee injury on Sunday.
He was out all last year. He cannot catch a break.
What about wide receivers from Baylor, though? I mean, Corey Coleman had injuries, and then, of course, Gordon's had his own problem. My God.
And now we're talking about two different eras, too. It's not like, it was the Bryles tag of, they don't know how to run all the routes, and they are used to just running in place when they're not involved in the play and things like that. I mean, this is a guy who was under the Matt Rule tree and, prepared a little bit more thoroughly, perhaps you could say, for the NFL life. But, he came to Baylor with injuries. He left Baylor with an injury. And his rookie year, the injury lingers, and now his second year, he's already out. So, I don't know what the future holds for Jalen Hurd, but he has been through quite a lot, and that's a shame because he's really talented.
Also, Des Bryant expected to maybe work out with Baltimore at some point this week.
According to Jane Slater, they kept it under wraps for quite a while that there was some mutual interest. And Baltimore had initially reached out to him right after the Cowboys cut him, but he said no at the time because he was kind of chewing his feelings about it. And then when he got then, of course, he goes to New Orleans. He gets hurt a year later. So, best of luck to Dez. I hope it works out for him.
Redskins have hired Jason Wright.
Washington.
The Washington folk. It's going to take me a while.
The WFC.
The former Washington's football club hires Jason Wright as their team president, first black team president in NFL history, and only the fourth player in history of the league, 100 years, to ever be in that role.
And what's interesting, not only that historical aspect of it, but he says very clearly that he is not going to be involved in football details and football transactions and things like that. He'll have to be involved to a certain extent, but basically the way they set it up is he's going to be all the business stuff, and Ron Rivera is going to be all the football stuff. So it's not going to be like when Bruce Allen was there and he was dipping his fingers into everything, and it's going to be separate. So maybe Washington's onto something finally.
Well, that's compartmentalized. That's what the Cowboys had to learn how to do with Will McClay coming on board with Steven and Jerry's still involved in everything.
Yeah.
But they've kind of been able to have others now in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, they only have a couple of voices telling Jerry, as opposed to where Jerry, he would just kind of walk around and be like, what do you think about Craig Smoke? What do you think about Craig Smoke? What do you think about Craig Smoke?
And the last person to get to him.
Yeah. And so he would go through all that. But I think the Redskins are great for doing this.
Washington.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, Washington's good for doing this. Dan Snyder actually making a smart move and letting a football guy run football and somebody else do something else because they need a singular voice in each department.
Canadian Football League looks like they're going to cancel their 2020 season. They looked for some financial help, couldn't get it. Mavericks tonight, game 1 against the Clippers. Stars score with 12 seconds left in the third period to tie Calgary and then win it overtime. That series 2-2. Denver's about to beat Utah in the first game there.
In OT.
Yeah, in overtime. Minute 53 to go, up 9. Later on, Brooklyn, Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston. The NBA playoffs started when Portland knocked out Memphis in the play-in game on Saturday. Coming up next, Brad Carlisle. He covers Louisiana Tech football. He and I have traded back some tweets and texts before throughout the day when I had the news about Louisiana Tech. But the Conference USA has to make a few changes to their schedule. Will that happen? How simple is it? He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home, or are you looking to sell the one that you're in, or probably both? If you're looking to upsize or downsize, whatever you're looking to do, you need a realtor in your corner who can guide you through anything you're encounter, contact my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, and let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Just give Lance a call, 254-214-3713, or go online and see his most current listings at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. That's 254-214-3713 or lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
The big summer clearance event is still underway at Allen Samuels in Waco. Now update your essential transportation needs with 0% financing and no payments for 90 days on almost everything in stock. Brand new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cabs, ready to roll with 0 for 72 and no payments for 90 days. And Ram Tradesman Express Quad Cabs feature up to $8,500 in values. We'll save you thousands at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
This is Sikkim 365. The Sikkim 365 radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we go, 3:18. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to hear from A.J. Burns. He plays at La Vega. They've had a chunk of players, even a former player, Eli Cummings, the running back at Riker, who've committed over the weekend to play at various places, including Pittsburgh State in Kansas or Northwestern Louisiana. Others that have committed to Idaho, including Tyler Webb. He'll join us at 5:10 or so. But earlier today, I had the note about the Baylor and Louisiana Tech game. We always thought that still might be it, but there's some contingencies within the conference that Louisiana Tech needs to have kind of cleaned up or moved. And Ben Carlisle at B. Carlisle 37 from Bleed Tech Blue joins us to kind of go over that a little bit with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig Paul and David Smoke. Ben, thank you very much. I think everyone's always thought that this would be the game, and what a hell of a game it might be. But what are some things that need to happen, you think, for this to happen?
Yeah, I think when you look at Louisiana Tech's schedule, obviously with the Big 12 coming out a few weeks ago, that
they're going to be playing their conference-only schedule plus the one non-conference game, and they'll need to play that game. I believe it was either September the 12th or the 19th. And right now, when you look at Tech's schedule, they're set to open the year September the 12th on the road in Hattiesburg with a conference game at Southern Miss. So if Tech is going to end up playing at Baylor to open its season, they're going to have to rely on Conference USA to shift some things around. And it's easy to look at the schedule as we stand today and say that, Tech could use North Texas as kind of that middleman to rotate some games around. But on the opposite side, you also got Old Dominion on the east side of Conference USA that announced they're not going to be playing football this fall. So it remains to be seen if the league's going to end up just tearing up the whole schedule that they had previously and redoing things, or are they going to keep rolling ahead and kind of leave things how they were, especially on your side of the division, which is kind of what we're in that wait-and-see mode. But like y'all reported this morning, I think we've been hearing a lot of the same things where Tech and Baylor are certainly trying to get a deal worked out so Tech can open their season on the road in Waco.
What do you think the likelihood of it is happening if you had to put a number on it?
I would say right now probably 65, 70%. I feel pretty good that, obviously the two teams signed a deal, which essentially was, a 2-for-1 deal where Tech will travel to Waco 2 times before they come up to Ruston another year. But I would say right now it's pretty likely that they're able to work it out because I know that especially in Conference USA at the G5 level, it's important to get some of these money games played. So I would imagine that the league will work with Tech and figure out a way so that Tech's able to come down to Waco.
How has Louisiana Tech, in your opinion, kind of handled all of these moving parts and also dealing with, students coming back soon, that type of thing, all the testing, everything that goes with preparing for the football season? How has La Tech and also the conference itself, in your opinion, handled all that?
Yeah, I think they've handled it pretty well. I think they opened up fall camp about a week or two ago. They ended up putting camp on hold for this past week just because with all the different moving parts, we're seeing that the season's likely going to start later than it was anticipated. So you have some extra days to play with. So they put things on pause for a week, got back going this past Saturday, practiced last night as well before taking a day off today. But yeah, they've been rolling along. I've been out at practice the first 5 practices, and things seem to be going as normal as they can be, going throughout this whole COVID thing that we're all dealing with. As far as keeping your distancing, and I'm sure coaches across the country are also placing a big emphasis on it. But I would say things are rolling along pretty good, and I've been extremely happy just to see some football actually being practiced and getting prepared for a season because we've seen the season be, really – I was kind of doubting things at this time last week, so it's good to see that Tech's been back on the practice field, and I think the conference is looking forward to getting on the field come middle of September.
It's been a pretty good little stretch because the La Tech game with UL Monroe, ULM, that was about, a little over 10 days ago. I know that there were people who wanted that back together again. So it's been a kind of a nice way that maybe this schedule pieces together for Louisiana Tech.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And, they were able to add Houston Baptist to their schedule as well on the 19th to replace Prairie View. And like you talked about with the ULM game, two teams that haven't played in 20 years, but when you talk to some of the older folks that are supportive of both programs, it's kind of a rivalry game. And you look at a year like this, it's the perfect opportunity for the two teams to match up on a neutral field in Shreveport. And so, however the schedule ends up shaking out in the long term, having those two teams get to face off will certainly create some buzz in the Ruston-Monroe area. And I know it's a game that a lot of Tech fans and a lot of Monroe fans are looking forward to as well.
The team itself, this is a good football team Louisiana Tech has, and it's not like this is just a game. This is a game that's dicey, even whether Baylor had Matt Rule coming back. And now, of course, with the new coaching staff with Aranda, they're going to be good, Baylor. But your thoughts about this game give both of them a pretty good chance, if in fact it becomes official, to find out who they are in a hurry.
Yeah, Skip Holtz has done a really good job with this Tech program. I think he's entering year 8. The Bulldogs have gone to 6 straight bowl games. They've won 6 straight bowl games, coming off their first 10-win season since 1984. And, when you look at this team entering 2020, really the big question mark offensively is who ends up playing quarterback. I know Luke Anthony's a grad transfer from Abilene Christian that's fighting for the job with the returning redshirt sophomore Aaron Allen out of the Houston area. And really that's the only question mark offensively. They returned Six of their top 7 receivers return a 1,000-yard running back in Justin Henderson, and then you return 4 starting offensive linemen. So they're expected to be pretty good offensively as long as they get the quarterback position worked out. And then defensively, I think the two teams, both Baylor and Louisiana Tech, are in really a similar spot, having to replace 9 starters. David Blackwell's in as the new defensive coordinator, replacing Bob Diaco, who left for Purdue after the season. And, Tech's brought in some guys in the offseason of the transfer variety. Brought in a transfer cornerback in DJ Brown out of Penn State, a transfer from Virginia Tech and safety Khalil Ladler. So they got some guys on that side of the ball that have some experience, but it's just a matter of those guys stepping up now that it's their turn to kind of shine and produce on the defensive side of the ball. But I know the coaching staff is really excited to see what this football team can do, and no better test than go on the road to Baylor to open the season and really kind of see where your football team's at for the remainder of the year.
All right. Hey, we appreciate it, Ben. I know it was late notice. Appreciate you. Thanks for also correcting me on when I mentioned, God, that's how long ago it's been since the schedule was normal, that this was not the opening original game by any means. It was not supposed to play till September 26th, but it would be if they get it done September 12th. So the games, again, for those listening, what 2 games or so have to be moved? Again, just to summarize.
Yeah, for Tech, they're looking to move the Southern Miss game, which is right now it's scheduled for September the 12th. They're looking to figure out a different weekend, and they could shift around North Texas, which is the most obvious candidate, could shift around and face off with Southern Miss that opening week and open up some things. But right now, Tech's really trying to move that Southern Miss game so that they can play Baylor.
Thank you very much, Ben. Great stuff. Appreciate
Absolutely,
your time.
guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. That's Ben Carlisle. He jumps on with us today to kind of give us an idea of what really has to happen. This is not guaranteed. It's a game that was supposed to be played late in September. It's not guaranteed. He's from @BleedTechBlue on Twitter, by the way.
But according to your sources, this is the game that Baylor wants to play.
No, this is the game that both teams want to play.
Right.
And it's the only thing is the reason, keep on, okay, now they got the schedule out, they can't because what if Southern Miss or the Conference USA, if they can't make this happen? And if they can't make it happen, then to me, the contingency for Baylor is either Stephen F. Austin, they want to continue to play,
sure,
and even had Kobe Carthel on last week, and or Abilene Christian, who had their game with A&M canceled.
Well, at least there's options out there. So you've got a good game on paper right now with La Tech. I mean, like I was outlining earlier, that's one of the better singular non-conference games that the Big 12 will play in that opening weekend if it happens. But if not, hey, you got a couple of teams you can fall back on that you've played here recently as well, so you're familiarized with them. They've been to McLean and been to Waco and all that jazz here in the last few years. So, yeah, I like that the ball's rolling and we're moving forward, so that's good.
Brad Boozer, La Tech. He's fired up. I mean, they're good. They're really good.
I was marking this game with a first-year head coach, and, I mean, I've got more confidence now just in hearing Aranda and hearing some of the things and seeing the talent they have. But that's a game where I looked at it and I go, shoot, man, if they stumble out of the blocks and they're not careful, that could get dangerous.
Well, the Ole Miss game that would have been there, that's dangerous. But
Kim Mulkey, a great schedule. Wow. Yeah.
Kim Mulkey played there. Randy, right? He played there.
Carl
Malone, Terry Bradshaw, Joe Ferguson. But that's interesting. And the Louisiana Tech Texters is what they were for a long, long time. And okay, coming up next, A.J. Burns, one of a slew of La Vega football players who've committed the last 3 to 4 days. We couldn't get them all on. I hate we couldn't get Demario Alexander on from China Spring, who committed last week to Kansas. But his practice was during the time of our show. A.J. Burns, Tyler Webb will join us. Conley, quarterback who committed to Idaho. He'll join us at 5:10 or 5:15 today. Mike Welch, former Baylor great. He was a hell of a player. His career cut short by a knee injury. Otherwise was an NFL guy. Big, 6'2", 210-pound safety. Coming up, A.J. Burns and his story from La Vega High School. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can allow you to feel good and feel better and also become the high-performance man you want to be in many different ways, just with your energy. If you've been lethargic, you've been kind of just something's not right, he can help you with that. He can also help you with your sex drive, your stamina as well. PettyClinicLowT.com, located on Old Hewitt Road, on just off 84, just on the access road. Go to PettyClinicLowT.com, contact them, tell them you'd like to kind of ask about the program. Tell him Smokey sent you. He'll get you discounted lab work. He'll look at the results, look at your testosterone level, and if your testosterone level is too low, he can put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. Raising your testosterone level. Some of the other things that might come into play are normal, lack of sleep, bad diet, not very much exercise, but also testosterone as you get older. And it goes a little bit younger at the age that can be affected by testosterone as well. PettyClinicLowT.com.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, here we go, this 3 o'clock hour. We are loaded up. Mike Welch will join us today at 4:30, former Baylor safety. Among others, Tyler Webb at 5:10. We have Wade Morton, head coach at Meridian, that's going to join us a little bit later on in this hour as we continue all the way until 6 o'clock. We're now joined by La Vega Pirates defensive back A.J. Burns. He committed to Northwestern Louisiana, the Demons, in Natchitoches. Louisiana, from Natchitoches, Louisiana. It's not spelled that way. That's the way it's pronounced. AJ joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. AJ, when you first saw the city where Northwestern Louisiana is located, had you heard of it before, and did you know how to pronounce it?
No, I haven't heard of it before, but I think it was a nice city, and I think it was a good place for me.
It's spelled like Nacogdoches. It's Natchitoches, basically, but it's Natchitoches. That's you know how to say that now, right, AJ? Natchitoches?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, I know how to say it.
Yeah, you do. I know you do. Hey, what a run it's been. And of course, everyone knows the great stretch La Vega's been on in football for a long, long time, but especially the last, 5 or 6 years. And a lot of players, I mean, a lot of your teammates have committed to play at Pittsburgh State, Northwestern Louisiana, among other places as well. What's that been like as you guys are leading up to start the season in a couple of weeks? What's been the talk among everybody?
It's mostly been just to keep working, even though we are committed somewhere. We just all trying to get to the next level, and still trying to win a state championship at the end of the season.
What was the big draw for Northwestern State for you?
It was the city and the people and the coaches.
What was it about the coaches, AJ? I mean, just easily to get, I guess imagine it was easy to get along with those guys, but who were a couple of them maybe that stood out to you? Who was like really a major part of your recruitment, and what was that relationship building like?
Coach Mike Lucas and Coach Devin Lockett, they recruited me, and they treated me as a family. So it just felt like a family environment in the right place for me.
When someone becomes a leader, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's a corporation, whether it's anything, any kind of business or a football team, even the school, it's not something where you raise your hand and say, hey, I'm the leader. In fact, that's the least of a leader. It's what you do to become that according to what other people think of you. How did you become someone that people look up to, whether it's siblings, teammates, students, whoever? When did all that happen, and how did that come about in your life, AJ?
Well, from my parents, I was always taught to be a leader, so I was like never a follower. But I'm not the talkative leader. I just do what I got to do, and everybody else just follows.
You don't say much. You just let your actions speak it, right?
Yes, sir.
When was a point in your life? How old were you when you thought you had the ability to perhaps play not just high school football for a proud program like La Vega, but possibly play at the college level? Was there a certain thing that happened, or a game or a moment or a play or something?
Probably when I was 11 years old in Pee Wee, and I scored 5 touchdowns in the game.
Just 5? That's 5 touchdowns, man. Was that as a certain position? What were you playing, and how were you scoring all those?
I was playing running back.
Okay.
We was running toss. And they just couldn't catch me.
So seems pretty simple. Did you just go into the huddle and be like, "Hey, we're gonna run toss"?
Yeah.
Just pick a side.
Yeah, the coach, after I scored 2 times, the coach was like, "Just keep giving them the ball." I just kept going.
That means the coach is pretty smart too, right? That wasn't hard to do. Just, hey, give AJ the ball. Now you're playing defensive back. So if in fact you get your hands on the ball, is that natural running back instinct now? Do you kind of feel that? And what's that like, knowing that you could take one the other way?
It's a natural offensive feeling, because before I started playing defensive back, I was playing receiver and running back. So yeah, it's like when I touch the ball, it's just an offensive instinct kicks in.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys have been on a great run. 2015 state championship. A couple of years ago, state championship. Last year you got to the end and lost to Carthage in the state championship, which is becoming a great rivalry. They're now dropping to Division II. What is it now? What if I asked you, what's the standard of La Vega football? What do you expect as a team, as a player, as someone who goes to school there, of La Vega football?
Work hard to become a better person off the football field than on the football field, and just be a leader. Just be a leader in life.
I did get this from your mother, Devin. Your father, of course, Anthony. He's a very well-rounded individual, and we're very proud of him. You mentioned your parents earlier. What have they meant to you?
They meant a lot to me. They installed the ground for me earlier in my life. I got to work for everything to get something, and everything's not going to be handed to me. So, yeah, my dad's been training me in football since I was like 6.
Wow. What has Don Hyde and that La Vega coaching staff and that school meant to you as well, AJ?
It's meant a lot. Ever since I got here, they've been a family to me. They've always supported me in everything I did. And yeah.
Well, it's obviously working out. And I had a couple of texts back and forth with Don Hyde last night when I said, hey, Iglehart, he committed. Rawls, he committed. I mean, just name somebody. DeGrate committed. You committed. And there's others as well. Yeah, Rawls. And now there's others to come, right? There's going to be another handful of teammates you think that probably play at the next level?
Yes, sir. We got about 6 more people that's committing these next month or so.
Isn't that great?
Hey, we got to get things back to normal so they can have the proper signing day ceremony. There'd be like 12 guys, if not more, signing.
Golly, that's going to be a chunk. I have been out to a couple of your practices. I was there when you guys were able to resume working out when it was shut down. And then I've been out there since you were able to start working out, which is for the upcoming football season. It's been very smart. Everybody's been very careful when it comes to the mask and what you guys are doing. Can you try to explain, as someone who's going through it, what these last few weeks have been like to try to make sure everybody stays safe, but still focus on getting better as a football team?
It's been different. We got to wear the mask underneath our helmet and stuff. And they got to sanitize everything. Can't really be around each other all the time, really. But everybody has one goal in mind. That's just to win state. And we got to do anything we got to do to get it.
What's it like, and how difficult is it to wear the helmet but also have a mask on in what is a hot as heck time right now?
It gets kind of difficult, kind of breathing sometimes, but you get used to it. So I mean.
We've had this question. I know you got to go, but here's another question for you. They shut the thing. They shut down. The county shut things down. The city shut things down. Would you, as a young athlete, try to explain how much more safe or safer you are in what you're doing now with the protocol at high school with coaches than you might have been had you been off on your own, just doing your thing with your friends?
Yeah, it's safer here because they clean everything and they make sure to keep us distance. But if I was not here, I'd probably be all out on the field with everybody not even wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Our clothes not even sanitizing anything.
Yep.
So it's better here than just not being here at all.
What was your great-grandmother about? Tell me about she passed away about 4 years ago. I know that she was a huge motivator and a cheerleader for everything that meant important to you. What was she? How much of a role model was she for you?
She was a big role model for me because I seen everything that she went through, and she survived everything she went through, and she just motivated me so much to be the best player I can be and do the best I can in everything I do.
AJ, congratulations on Northwestern Louisiana. Good luck getting to that opening game and staying safe with you and your teammates. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
AJ Burns of La Vega going to Northwestern Louisiana. Rawls is going to Northwestern Louisiana. Rogers, among others, are going to Pittsburgh State. Man, the Rogers family pipeline has been amazing. The great name, of course, in the Central Texas and Waco area has been huge as well. When we come back, Meridian head football coach Wade Morton. We'll also have Mike Welch in the 4 o'clock hour. Johnny Estelle's next. Former Connolly star, Texas A&I Kingsville basketball coach, and about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at Navarro, next on Sikkim 365 Radio. If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeyard Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right. This is a blast from the past for me. And I did not know the connection because I wasn't here when he was playing high school on that 1990 13-1 football team and all the other things that Johnny Estelle did at Conley. Coach Snell sent me something. Others said, man, you got. So I saw the note. Johnny Estelle, now at A&M Kingsville, head basketball coach. He is going into the Navarro Hall of Fame. That's where I knew Johnny Estelle, assistant coach forever under Lewis Orr. Then he took over as head coach, and now he's at Texas A&I Kingsville and joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Man, either I'm getting really old or you're getting older too.
Oh, man, you never will change, Dave.
I always enjoyed your passion. You guys had great teams at Navarro, and I'm so proud of what you've done with your career. So let's start with Conley. I saw the picture of the 13-1 team in 1990. Shane Anderson he showed that to me. They were 12-1 last year, and people have been trying to reach that level since. Your thoughts about the days when you were at Connolly and all the great memories you had?
Well, I mean, that's where it started for me, you know, and the times were so different. You know, Quentin, who actually is the men's basketball coach there, was a guy I looked up to. We grew up in the same neighborhood. And back then, you know, high school wasn't as transient as it is now with guys just moving all around the place. So I actually remember watching guys practice from the elementary school. Couldn't wait for my time to represent the Connolly Cadets. And it was just a rite of passage, so much pride there. Coach Dale Snelling was a guy I played for there when I was a sophomore that would go and watch us play when I was in the junior high. And you just couldn't, you know, it was just so much pride there, you know, and you wanted to represent your school at a high level when it was your opportunity. And you didn't want to be the team to let everybody down and your community down. So it started there in the neighborhood and then also in the school with all those guys that I looked up and feared.
You now are running the program and what you're doing at A&M Kingsville. When you got word about Navarro, where you were for a long, long time, that you're going to be a part of the Hall of Fame, what did that mean to you?
You know, when I received the call, you know, I was very emotional from a lot of different reasons. You know, it was almost surreal, to be honest with you. You know, Coach Orr was on the call quite naturally. You know how much I revere Coach Orr and love him as such a great man and influenced my life. So for him to be a part of that with Coach Landers, you know, it's something I never thought about, you know, really, because, you know, you're just trying to keep your job. You're just trying to help people. You just want to make sure that you know, did your part in terms of upholding the culture and the brand there. And what a great brand we had during that time. I mean, there was a bunch of winning going on that campus. You see where we have the cheer situation with Monica and, you know, they have a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Winning national championships in football, won a national championship in baseball the same year. We was fortunate to go to the Final Four and go to 3 national tournaments. So, you know, basically it was a healthy competitive situation, but it was amongst peers in a community and an environment that was conducive to, you know, high standards and helping people. And that's why, you know, Navarro College will always be dear in my heart.
You know, you hear about right now in football, there's a lot of this, the 409. That's the Beaumont area, West Orange, Stark, areas like that. Proud players that come from that area in football, the 409. When I told you we're going to call you from a 254 area code, what was your reaction?
Man, just it's home. I mean, Waco, Texas, man. I've been fortunate through basketball to meet a lot of different people. Relationships are huge in what we do. And I've been fortunate to, you know, go a lot of different places through basketball. You know, basketball has been good to me. But there's nothing like home. You know, Waco, I've taken up Waco with me everywhere I've been. The relationships and the memories everywhere I've been. And when I come home, and I still get goosebumps as I drive in and I pass by, you know, the Baylor Stadium, the new Baylor, all the new Baylor stuff.
Yeah,
I can remember the old stuff, but all the new stuff. And as I look over to the right and just see how Waco has changed and the commitment that they've made to the Baylor Bears and things like that, I mean, it's just an exciting time to be. You know, around Waco, Texas.
How much did you practicing when you were younger? And I've done some due diligence, of course, on you, Johnny Estelle, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. How much did you get beat up, but how much did you get better practicing against the rec league?
That, for me, that's where, see, you know, we didn't have AAU. It was outlawed back then. So the way you learn how to play in Waco was you learn in your community. So guys like Quentin Snell, who was 3 years older than me, you playing up for us was not like 15s playing with 16s. I played in the junior high level. I would play against grown men. And one of the best mentors I had playing, you know, was Kevin Gill. Kevin Gill is the head coach over at McLean Community College. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that he is a phenomenal, I don't mean to understate this. I mean this true person, but he is a great coach. He's a very understated guy, but he has helped a lot of kids that was in my age bracket, because Kevin is just a little bit older than me. But back then, those guys would play with us and get us ready for college. So they would teach us life experiences. They would make us better on the court. They taught us the game. So when we left Waco and went to, our respective colleges, we always took that with us and took a lot of pride with us. So, and when we made it big or we was able to accomplish something, we would come back home and those guys would always, tell us how proud that was. And that's where you got your confidence from. You have your confidence from your peers and from those people. So guys like Kevin Gill and Bledsoe Community Recreational Center there and all those communities there, all those guys I played against in high school and growing up in junior high, they made who Johnny Estelle is.
So here we are. I get Johnny on to talk about to discuss being inducted into the Navarro Hall of Fame and all he's done as a player, former Connolly star and coach. And he wants to tell me about all the others. Well, he does. That's the kind of guy he is. That's the kind of person he is. Kevin Gill, you mentioned him. Ricky Rhodes, Steve Shields, Chris Johnson, Damian McKinney. You mentioned Coach Snell, who was thrilled we're going to have you on the show. This area has produced some basketball coaches, huh?
Yes, it has. It's a football-rich area, but, I grew up in 3A. Connolly's a 3A, So at that level, you had to play a lot of different sports. So there's a lot of other coaches that coached us that was in different areas. Like that year in football was phenomenal for me. That was probably the first time that I had won. I've been fortunate about to win, but to win at the state level and was 3 games away from the state title, that was a phenomenal run. And you mentioned Shane earlier. He was a ball boy on that team. And so I went back this year when they was playing to support my school, and I came by and watched practice, and he came by, and I was so proud of the job that they've done there at Connolly. And he says, he looked at me. He says, "Man, we're just trying to recreate that year. I was a ball boy on that team. Do you remember?" I said, "Man, yeah, I remember every minute of it, because that was very special to me."
Yeah, Mike Anderson, of course, longtime coach at Connolly's, an incredible guy, and did a great job there. Now, I know he's no longer with us. Paul and I lost our fathers 5 years ago, which is Craig's grandfather as well. Your father obviously had a huge influence on you. How much of an influence did he have on your life?
His birthday was Friday when I received the announcement, and it was bittersweet. My dad, he worked at Central Freight Line for over 30-something years, and he was a very committed man to his family and his wife and children. And he taught me how to work, man. He taught me how to treat people, how to respect people. He taught me how to do a good job. And, I said this at his funeral, and I don't mean to be somber, but it took me a long time to understand when I used to hear about people when they talk bad about their father, because I had such a great father. And I couldn't understand that because I had never experienced that, because the father I had would give the shirt off his back. He would help others. He was a hard-working man. So he was a really good football player. There was back during the segregation time, there was a high school there that was, A.J. Moore High. Mm-hmm. And if you research it, boy, they won a lot of state championships. And he played for Coach Richardson, who was a really phenomenal coach back then. So a lot of those principles about the game and about life was reinforced through him through the game of football, and that's what he did in parenting. And also, he never was the kind of guy that pushed you and tried to make you into something, but he always told you if you started, you're going to finish and be committed and do a great job and always value other people. So when you say my father, what kind of impact that he had, he's had a phenomenal impact on my life.
No question about it. You're in your, 6th year now at A&I?
Yes,
6 years.
It'll be 7. It'll start in 7, yes.
7 years, coming off a hell of a year. I mean, you guys are coming off a really good year. No surprise. You've always done well. You did it well under James Dickey at Houston. We know the Navarro story. You got something cooking there, huh, with the Javelinas?
Yes, sir. This was a unique one. In the sense that we had to rebuild the program here, and it took a little more, time than what I thought. But this level is a really good level. Graduation has always been a huge part of my program. I always want to make sure that those guys get what they came here for. They came here to get an education. So the degree that, we had a 94% degree graduation rate at Navarro College, and that degree that they earned there was a significant starter degree that to kind of let them know that they could do it. Now at the 4-year level, I'm at a level where the degree that they're getting here is going to shape and mold their future and their lives for not only them but their future, but their families. So it's the same objective, same goal, but it's just so impactful to see the young men come back and see, what they're doing with their life with this, degree at the 4-year level.
Congratulations, and I consider you a friend. Man, those Tyler and Navarro games inside that gym, wow. Either Wagstaff or your place, they were wars, weren't they?
Yes, sir. Well, I tell you what, the league was so good, man. There were so many good coaches and so many good players, man. You just start naming guys off. You have to have a who's who. But look at a guy like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I know you probably have talked about him for years, and it's amazing how what he's done with his career. But yeah, Coach Orr. And that league, even back when Leon Spencer was there, Dale Dotson was there, and Scott Janander, and you talk about even Bill Ford, the younger Coach Ross is hard. You just go down. It's just was a phenomenal region of players, administration, and coaches. So to be a part of that, to be a small part of the history of that, has been an amazing part of my life, and it's a chapter that I will always hold close to my heart.
Johnny, thank you for being a part of the show. Congratulations on the Navarro Hall of Fame, the 254, as you mentioned when you lit it up when you saw that. Thanks for your time. Congratulations, and hopefully I'll see you pretty soon. We're doing Conley football on Sikkim 365 Radio. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you guys so much, and hey, always give my love to my hometown, Waco, Texas.
You got it. That's Johnny Estelle now at A&M Kingsville, the head coach since 2014. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. IdealMRI.com, located in the Central Texas marketplace, changing the way the healthcare business can be for you. One, let's say you have something that really hurts, and you go to the doctor, and it could be something that could be broken or torn or whatever. Ideal MRI can be an answer for you. If your doctor discusses an MRI, ask them about IdealMRI.com. They have, inside the Central Texas marketplace, they have a state-of-the-art technology, an MRI machine that's like anything you would have. It's just monstrous that you would have inside of a health system. And the doctors and orthopedic surgeons know all about IdealMRI.com. They accept most insurance, and they also will help you. There's no hidden cost, and help you even if you need some financing. And here's the key. They can save you thousands of dollars on your MRI. For sure, hundreds, but sometimes in some cases, you might have an MRI that's $1,500 or $2,000, whatever it might be, and they can get you one for under $500. Significant illnesses and injuries continue to occur. And IdealMRI.com, right here in Central Texas, located in the Central Texas marketplace, blessed to be a part of the community, small business, helping bring down the cost of health care and maintaining elite high quality at IdealMRI.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine, and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Back for Klingberg again. Jamie Benn. Dallas trying to end it. John Klingberg fires and scores! And Dallas has tied the series.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
There are so many stories that I don't think we could do them all at one time, including what looks like Baylor La Tech. If Conference USA could move around a game between La Tech and Southern Miss, and also there's the North Texas game, among others. Saw this report, Channel 25 at Mexia ISD canceled football practices until further notice, pending results of a student's COVID test. There's going to be that.
Oh, no, there's going to be that. That's something we're just going to have to get used to. I mean, if you thought everybody was going to start getting back to classes and school and there weren't going to be any issues, I mean, that was blatantly obvious there was going to be. It's going to be more about the response to, how it's handled and how much it can be contained. But, the North Carolina report today, like over 100 students already have contracted COVID. I had seen where and subsequently they have now moved to entirely online classes, although certain people will still be allowed to stay on campus like student athletes. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see that at a variety of other places as well. And originally the thought had been from a lot of people that if students weren't on campus, you couldn't have athletics. But I don't know. I think they might change their tune a little bit on that if they can. But North Carolina's going that direction now. You saw the pictures perhaps over the weekend, all the people waiting in line in Alabama, out in Tuscaloosa, no masks, like 3 masks out of like 150 people. Just stupid, all standing next to each other. There was the video of the club in Stillwater Oklahoma State students are back, and this place is just jam-packed. Everybody's dancing, rubbing all over each other, drinking, no mask whatsoever. And so these are college kids. They're immune to it, I guess, in their minds, or they just don't really care. And so it's not going to be the student-athletes that are going to be the problem, because they're going to be, under all these protocols. It's going to be the regular students that are going to make this an issue.
And you saw, I don't know if you saw some of the Indians players speaking to what happened in Cleveland and how pissed
they were. Really
they
pissed.
are. Well, that's going to be the case pretty much everywhere that people break their, their promises.
AJ just tell us?
Yeah, exactly.
So, high school kid, I'd be out there, but I wouldn't be going through the protocol.
Yeah, but so the people who break their promises to their teammates are going to face this all over the place. And in college, I think this almost, especially when you're more concerned about, your social standing in life.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for people to kind of bounce back.
I tell you, man, when I saw that picture of the line out there in Tuscaloosa, which wasn't just college students, there was some mingled in there, but it was older people. It was, parents, grandparents, all people of all ages. None of them hardly wearing masks, as I mentioned. And I don't even know what they were in line for. It was like a restaurant maybe? I don't even know. But that Oklahoma State video, I know there's the thought that kids in their 20s are going to be okay 98% of the time with coronavirus. But I'm also looking at this from a guy who's in his 30s versus being in my early 20s. But I feel like even in my early 20s, if I thought there was a highly contagious disease going around, that if I got it, I will probably be okay, but I can infect my father, my mother, my grandparents, or whatever. I just can't imagine the thought of going into a packed club. You need to be out that badly, and I guess they do. I guess that's the answer, is they do. But even looking back in hindsight, I don't think I would have been so quick to just go back to normal clubbing in this day and age. But, hey, to each their own, I guess.
2021 high school graduates, no ACT, SAT score will be required for D1 or T2 initial eligibility. Over the coming year, NCAA members will conduct a broad review of the continued use of those scores for NCAA's initial eligibility standards.
You know what that means? Kiss it
Gone.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Kiss it goodbye.
Good, because I scored poorly. Mike Vrabel, the other day when Kima Severin that was got in trouble, got cut, right? Because he tried to sneak a woman into a team hotel and made her dress up like she was a football player. Mike Vrabel. My response to that, this is 2 or 3 days old, my response to that was, I hope that she wasn't the size of an actual NFL football player.
Like an O-lineman or something, yeah. He's a funny guy.
Tonight, but yeah, come on.
He's having fun with it.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here.
My thought initially in that story was either the Seahawks are signing really, if you saw it and somebody would be like, are we signing really dainty people or
must be a kicker.
He likes...
254-339-1122. The Riverbend Liquor and Wine text hotline is open, and also the Willis Law Firm chat room. Did you see the video of Zach Rabachic leaping from the pool side out of the pool on to the edge of the pool?
Yeah, and it wasn't like he was waist. He was pretty deep.
Yeah, I was looking for maybe a little ladder area there for a second, but that's powerful.
I saw
the young man who, of course, is committed to play at Sam Houston State from Troy High School.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've seen videos like that, though, over the years of guys doing that, but I might have to check that one. If it was chest level, then that's more impressive than most of them, where it's still very impressive, but they're going from, waist-deep water. I sure as heck could not do that.
No. All right, Alex Smith, go ahead.
I was going to give you a couple of scoring updates here on the NBA. The playoffs are rolling on along now. And game one of the day of 4 games today is in the books as the Nuggets defeated the Jazz in OT 135-125. So Nuggets lead that series 1-0. Nets and Raptors are underway, and the Raptors are up 70-43 in the late second quarter. So Raptors are cruising on along there. Later on tonight, 76ers and Celtics. And then, of course, tonight at 8, Mavs and Clippers. Game number 1 in the NHL right now. The Lightning are up on the Blue Jackets 2-1. They lead that series 2-1. And 10 minutes to go in that ball game. So Lightning looking to go to 3-1. And later on, we'll have the Avalanche and the Coyotes, the Bruins and the Hurricanes, and then the Blues and the Canucks late tonight.
Mike Welch at 4:30. We'll have a former Baylor a former longtime player, and he had a lot of different pro leagues. He's good. Robert Quiroga is going to join us on Wednesday. We have much more, including Mike Welch at 4:30. Coming up next, we'll do a couple of more things.
Randy
Peterson. Paul continues the Big 12 tour. We've hit Oklahoma. We've hit TCU, and now Iowa State is next.
There's somebody else in there, too. Kansas State
West Virginia.
And West Virginia and Kansas State as well.
Coming up, we'll discuss Iowa State football. In fact, Stephen Vaughn sent me a question about that. We'll get to it after the segment. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Employee pricing is rolling on along for everyone at the summer savings event going on now. You pay what employees pay all month long, and that means that you can save $7,000 on 2020 Acadias for qualified buyers, $7,000 on 2020 Yukons, $7,000 on 2020 GMC Terrains. So you got those covered. Well, maybe you're in the mood for a truck. How about saving $8,000 on 2020 GMC SLT crew cabs? They've also got the line of Buicks. The Enclave is one of the best-selling SUVs in 2020. It's got first-class seating for 7. It's loaded with safety and technology features, and it's an uncompromising full-size SUV. Right now, save $7,200 on a 2020 Buick Enclave. Plus, you can also save thousands on 2020 Buick Envisions and 2020 Buick Encores during the summer savings event. You get great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and in-town priority warranty service every time you buy a vehicle at Richard Carr Motors. And now, for this month, you get employee pricing. So take advantage during this summer savings event. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They just want a chance to earn your business. So stop by their showroom. It's disinfected daily, or you can have the test drive brought to your home because your comfort and safety is their first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters lifetime installation guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Erie Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is Paul Catalina's College Football Focus.
Purdy over the middle. He's got it wide open. Drake Milton. He's got speed. Milton going to go all the way 73 yards, and the Cyclones have struck again.
Our Big 12 tour continues here on Sikkim 365 Radio. We talk Iowa State. Randy Peterson joins us now. And Randy, Brock Purdy back for his senior year. Matt Campbell's been there. He's entrenched himself. Is this a team that can make the jump and can compete for the Big 12 title this season?
Well, I think so. I do, but given the fact that they've got so many players returning on both sides of the ball, and obviously including Brock Purdy, and as we as we know, this season's going to be one of those seasons where you're going to have to need to have a lot of depth. And Iowa State has depth, except at the quarterback position. But so yeah, I think Iowa State could compete. Purdy's going to have a good year, obviously, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't. He's got a number of receivers back. They've got a running back who could likely gain 1,000 yards rushing. So yeah, I think this would be a year that Iowa State could compete. And I know it's the year that Matt Campbell and his staff have been pointing towards.
Matt Campbell's, everybody talks about him. He's rumored for every job that comes up because of the job he's done there, but he feels really entrenched there. And it seems to me like he wouldn't just take a job that would be any kind of lateral move. Does that make the Iowa State fans more kind of confident in what he's building there and the roots he's putting down?
Well, I don't know whether Iowa State fans are ever going to be confident that Matt Campbell, how long he's going to be here. But Matt Campbell has a couple times at least turned down some jobs in the National Football League. So Iowa State fans are looking towards that, and they make that, that's kind of a positive. And the fact that he's going to stay for a while, or that nothing's open that he really wants. He turned down one of the Florida or Florida State, whatever it was, last off season, for example. He's turned down interview requests at Arkansas, for example. So yeah, Matt Campbell. I'm not saying Matt Campbell's an Iowa State lifer. I don't think that. Although Iowa State fans are hoping he'd be Bill Snyder-like and do at Iowa State what Snyder did at Kansas State. But if the right job comes along, I mean, if for example, a Michigan or not Michigan, if a Michigan State or Penn State or Notre Dame, something like that came along and they asked Matt Campbell if he was interested, I think you'd have to at least talk about it. But as of now, Matt Campbell is very happy at Iowa State.
Randy Peterson, the Des Moines Register, with us here on Sikkim 365 Radio. And the thing that Matt Campbell's built his team on is toughness, defense. You mentioned they've got a lot of people back. Defensively, do you see that same kind of intensity, the same kind of skill they've had in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I do. The defensive line comes back darn near intact, and it includes Jaquan Bailey, a defensive end who is one sack away from breaking Iowa State's career sack record. Well, he didn't even play last year. I mean, he was injured. He got hurt in the Baylor game. What was that? The fourth game? The first Big 12 game, I think. Mm-hmm. He hurt his leg in the Baylor game and missed the rest of the year. So he's back, and he's a first team all conference, all Big 12 defensive back. Greg Eisworth is back, and he's a first team all Big 12 preseason. The whole linebacker group comes back intact. So and Iowa State is still playing that 3-man front that other teams have gravitated to. So they have to tweak it every so often. But yeah, Iowa State is good on the defensive side of the ball. as well. So that's another reason that Iowa State I think can maybe compete for the Big 12 title.
How do you feel the university has dealt with the pandemic here in Waco? Baylor's been very upfront. We'll get an email today on how many active cases and how many people are quarantining or whatnot. How's Iowa State handled the pandemic?
The last I heard, which it's been a week or so, maybe 10 days, is that Iowa State football had a total less than 10 positive tests. And last I heard, everybody that tested positive since when they returned June, less than 10 of them, at least that's the last report, have been cleared. So I mean, they're back practicing. I don't know about in Waco over the weekend, but in Ames over the weekend and a lot of other campuses, students returned. The general student population returned, and there were parties galore. So, and they weren't doing a whole lot of social distancing or wearing masks either. So I guess we'll have to see in 10 days when, how that works out, because that's usually a lag time between the lack of social distancing and somebody coming down with the COVID. So, but so far Iowa State football has been doing a very, very good job.
What's the tenor like in the state, given that Iowa State's going to try and play like the big, the three power conferences that are, but Iowa and the Big Ten is not. And, obviously there's a big divide on that, throughout the country. But what's it like in Iowa right now with those people kind of dealing with whatever fan base you subscribe to will have a season or maybe not?
Well, it initially started out where Iowa fans thought that, thought the Big Ten was doing the right thing, and the Big 12 was not. Since Iowa football players, became adamant over the last few days that they want to play football, and Iowa football players' parents are among a growing group of parents nationally that say that want their kids to be playing football in the fall instead of not playing. I think it's shifted to the Iowa fans are kind of envious of Iowa State at least trying to play football. Nobody says that the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC are going to play. They're going to try to play. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to play. And so yeah, I think the Iowa fans, for the most part, are envious of Iowa State at least giving it a shot.
What would be kind of the floor, you think, for Iowa State this year on their record?
The worst part or the high part?
Yeah, the low part. The high part, and we talked about, they can contend for the...
Yeah, the low part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the low part. Well, I would say someplace... I would say anything below fourth place, I think, would be they right in their fourth place. Fourth place, I would say, because Oklahoma, as long as their players, still continue to play, although I see they lost a running back, I would say Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, and then right there with Iowa State. And I don't even know about Oklahoma State because they've had some weird stuff going on since June also.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the crud, but some other weird stuff going on. But Iowa State gets Oklahoma in Ames. Iowa State gets Texas Tech in Ames. They play Baylor in Ames. They play Kansas State in Ames. So, and West Virginia in Ames among the whatever it is 6 home games. So they get a little. The schedule's okay, and they play at Texas on November 28th or something like that. And who knows if we're still having football by then? But yeah, I think if Iowa State finishes anywhere below fourth place, then I think you've got a season that a ho hum season.
Randy Peterson, Des Moines Register, with us here on Sikkim 365 Radio as our big.
The biggest summer sale is still on at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels in Waco. The summer clearance event is where there's still 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on almost everything. The world's most awarded SUV is on sale. Jeep Grand Cherokee with 0 for 72 financing and no payments for 90 days. Or choose Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Renegade, or Jeep Compass. All 0 for 72. Update your ride and save at Allen Samuels.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Friday Night Lights, would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Mike Welch was one heck of a football player at Baylor, played safety. He's now a financial advisor at D.R. Sauer Financial. And he joins us, Mike Welch joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoke. So when I reached out to you and I said, hey, I want to get you on the show, and you were on vacation, so I was annoying you anyway. But do you immediately, when someone like us, when we call to talk about your life at Baylor, is that when you flash back to those years in the 80s?
I do. You know, those are some special memories, special times. And, of course, my buddy David Wetzel gave me a little bit of a heads up there. So I'm always happy to relive those times back in Sweetwater. You know, those are some of the best years of my life for sure.
I don't know if he's going to be your buddy, though, after today. Because I got – yeah, I've got some things on you. So why were you someone – and you went to Sweetwater High. Art Browse was the coach there. Then you went to Hamlin. Then you come to Baylor, highly recruited player. Mm-hmm. Why did he give you, Coach Browse, the term light man?
Yeah, that's a good one. That one actually still persists to this day. But, again, I think it's a little unfair. But according to him, I someone that never enjoyed practice, and that's what he would say. But of course, at the time in Sweetwater, it was pretty rough because I played when he was there. I played outside linebacker as a sophomore, if you can believe that. That was before I transitioned to safety, and then I played some receiver and running back. So practice was tough. I was going on both ends and played special teams. So in his mind, I didn't love practice, but he would say when the lights came on, I was always ready to go. So that's kind of where light man came from.
Were you just naturally gifted where you didn't need to work out any extra than anybody else, or you didn't have to practice hard?
No, I didn't say I didn't practice hard. He said I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it.
Okay. How did you I'm just kind of throwing it out there. I know that you've been at a couple of different places in the technology business. I think, was it GTE? Is that right? GTE Sylvania?
That's right.
My grandfather, my father-in-law, Mr. Jolly, worked at GTE Sylvania forever and ever. How did you get in the financial business?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, when I got started with GTE, they at the time when I was in college were sponsoring a lot of the academic, all-American, academic, all-conference teams that I was lucky enough to be a part of. So I got to know a few of their executives, and they had a sort of an executive training program that I jumped into right out of college. And I was a computer science undergrad, so did a little bit of network management, software design for a while, but you know, that just kind of ran its course, and I'd always had a love for finance and a heart for helping people in that area. So I had gotten my licenses at one point, went back to North Texas, got my MBA in finance, and I ended up joining a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that I'd known for probably 20 years through church, and he was expanding his practice, so he was looking to take me on, and I was looking for a change. So it was just for the right timing, and the stars kind of aligned, and I joined this small firm, and we've been growing ever since.
We just saw a season for Baylor football where they had a fantastic defense. I mean, they won a lot of their games defensively. You were part of what some might say is the best defense in Baylor history there in 1989, and the names that are a part of that side of the football that year. What was it like? I mean, being around the likes of Thomas Everett and James Francis and Santana Dotson on a daily basis and having that successful of a defensive unit?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, you know, when I think about the guys that I played with, I do like to go back to my true freshman year when I played behind Thomas. And again, I think about that experience, just getting back to sit there and watch him. And I would say he's probably the most extraordinary athlete I've ever watched. Just the footwork that he had, the knowledge of the game. He was incredible and certainly well deserving of being named the Thorpe Award winner that year. But then my recruiting class, you know, I came in with Charles Bell, Robert Blackman, who was just incredible, and then got to play those years as a defensive back with Ray Crockett, and Crockett still accuses me of costing him a few rounds in the draft because he had to move to free safety his last year when I got hurt. So I'm still trying to live that one down. But, you know, getting to play with Ray and again, James Francis, Robert Blackman, Norris Blunt, and I hate to name names because I don't want to leave any of them out. And then, of course, after me, Santana and Robin and the other guys on the D-line come in. And, you know, the numbers we put up there in, you know, 89, 90 were pretty good numbers. I mean, we held people in check, and that was just a great group to be a part of.
Thomas Everett, by the way, I think might be on Friday's show. We've been working on him for a while. They've had some great defensive backs at Baylor, no question.
Does it help that you got to play a little bit as a true freshman behind Thomas Everett so that replacing him wasn't like, oh, my God, I better not screw this up?
Yeah, he actually, I think, got a little irritated the first few games. I got some mop-up duty and got a few trash interceptions, and he was a little upset that those weren't padding his stats, and I think he started closing out games. But, yeah, I got into a few games and got some interceptions that first year even, I think. So that was a good experience to kind of get my feet wet and play against the likes of USC and some of those big games that we had back then. That was a tremendous experience.
Mike Welch, You mentioned former Baylor safety. You mentioned that your last year you got hurt, and that's horrible because it was a bad injury for you. And it pretty much did that injury end your football career?
Well, what I meant to say was Crockett's last year. So
okay.
It was Ray was a year ahead of me. It would have been my junior year, and I ended up redshirting and playing the next 2 years in a brace with no ACL, basically. So that's a long story we don't want to get into, but basically, my knee was such that when they went in there to operate in '88, they didn't think I had a torn ACL, but it was tight enough to where they just decided to close me back up and let me play in a brace the next 2 years. So I played in '89 and '90 with no ACL and a brace on my right knee. So I was able to go ahead and play through it, but I do think probably that had a lot to do with hurting my chances at the next level, because there's not too many people wanting to take a chance on a guy that was kind of a borderline prospect anyway with no ACL in his right knee.
Wow, that's 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, and how things have changed now with the way that knee operations, ACL, whatever. I'm 61, and I remember a guy hurt his knee, and I just heard he hurt himself. His knee didn't even hear about that back in the day. You didn't really quite know that. So, my goodness.
No, the good news. Yeah, the good news was probably I tweaked it again and played 5 years after I graduated and ended up getting it repaired, and it's been great ever since. So that's been a good thing about it.
The Mike Welch Day that honored you, because you're a rock star in Sweetwater, Texas. You are. I mean, everyone knows. What did that mean? I know a lot of players and teammates came back. Coach Taft was there. What did that mean to have Mike Welch Day when you were when they had that at Sweetwater?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was unbelievable, and of course, it was all a surprise to me in terms of who came back and the way they did it. And I kind of was sitting up front with the mayor, and it was kind of a "this is your life" kind of a thing. They had some guy backstage that would start talking, and then he would come out, and gosh, just guy after guy after guy. Well, I was just blown away by who was there, because of course Fredenberg came and Briles was there and Coach Taft was there, and it was a truly humbling experience, because that was a great group of guys that I played with in high school. Just a true team, if there ever was one, and an incredible coaching staff made up of guys that went on to become head coaches in their own right. So that was just one of those lifetime experiences.
Where did you get your singing voice from?
Do I have a singing voice?
Yeah, well,
I heard you. Look, I just kind of rode on the coattails of David Wetzel. I just kind of tried to fit in the background. I think of a guy I played with that was 2 years older than me named Scott Works, and I think Cody Carlson was part of those action singers. I was just one of those guys that tried to blend in. I let David carry the spotlight generally.
He might have just told me to ask you that question just to kind of, because maybe he didn't think you could. I don't, because have you seen some of the videos that David sits down with the guitar? The guitar, and just kind of, pretty amazing.
Yes, I sure have. I know he sang at a buddy's wedding one time, and it was a song I never would have wanted to touch in a 10-foot pole, but he did pretty good with it.
To see David Wetzel do what he's been doing now the last few years, obviously brought in with Matt Rule along with Sean Bell and Joey McGuire and others, but still there with the program now with Aranda. Aranda's had very high praise for all three of those guys, but to see David Wetzel doing what he's doing right now, how cool is that to you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's kind of the way I felt. Of course, I was close with Taft and all those guys, and then, lost touch with the program a little bit from a staff standpoint. But then when Briles came back in, that was another amazing thing to have somebody that I played for in high school and had kept in touch with all those years to be back at Baylor. That was amazing. And then when he moved on to have David come in with Rule, and I think that was so critical for Matt to have those kind of guys come in with the Texas ties and what have you. And now just have that connection with David and the new staff. I'm just so excited about the new staff that we have and what those guys are bringing offensively and defensively. And it's going to be amazing. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. But, David is one of those guys that, I've had two kids of my own come through high school and play football. And he's just one of those guys that if I could have anybody coach my own kids, it would be David. So he's just not only a quality guy, but a great coach too. And I know he'll have his opportunity down the road if he wants it.
You were a big safety too, weren't you? Were like 6'1.5", 6'2", 210. You were a pretty big body back in the day.
Yeah, pretty good size. The game has evolved a lot, and I've thought about that. And I've had people, ask me the awkward question: do you think you could play in the secondary now? It's like,
yeah.
Well, I like to think that I could. Although, I might have been more suited for that. That kind of outside backer, nickel DB type that they use now. I don't even know what they're calling it these days, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think I could probably play a little free. I mean, I wasn't a great man guy. We didn't play a lot of man back in the day, but I think there's a chance that I could have put on a little more weight and evolved to that kind of a outside backer role that they use now.
You ran track, long jumper, is that correct?
Yeah, I begrudgingly ran track because I loved the long jump, and I always tried to get to state. That was always my goal. I came up just a hair short a couple of years, particularly my junior year. But, yeah, I ran on the relays and, long jumps. That was kind of my specialty, but ran because I kind of had to.
Yeah, this is also, again, we're talking to Mike Wells, former Baylor safety, with us now, part of Sauer Financial on Sikkim 365 Radio. What were you better at if you take away if you take away track and football? Golf, ping pong, or putt-putt?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably say golf right now. I've had a few physical ailments that since I stopped playing, various neck and shoulder and back issues that have limited my golf a little bit. But man, I love playing golf the most. I'm probably more physically able to play putt-putt if that's the question. But that's probably more up my alley now. Hitting that big forehand with ping pong kind of it stresses the shoulder a little bit, so I probably should stick to ping pong, but I'm going to try to golf for a few more years.
Yeah, no, I've just been told you could do it all. And what did Grant Taff, and I don't know, Paul, we're up against the break, what did Grant Taff mean to you? What did his role in your life mean to you?
Well, very simply put, he was the reason I went to Baylor, quite honestly, and in addition to the possibility of playing early. But growing up, my grandparents lived in San Angelo, and he would often come back to their church. I'd seen him preach there several times and, had read a lot of his books, and then, of course, got to know him during the recruiting process. But, I have a strong faith, and it was important to me to play for a guy that had similar values, and I just appreciated not only the success he'd had on the field, of course, but his values and knowing that, he wasn't going to compromise those to win a game, and he was going to care for his players as if they were their own. So I can't say enough about him. And like I said, the reason I ended up there was probably due to him by the end of the day.
Anything else, Paul? Craig? Mike, thank you very much. We appreciate you jumping on. Hope your vacation went well. David Wetzel's called you not only a great football player, but a great person across the board. Thanks for being a part of the show, and hope to see you if, in fact, games in normalcy and whatever else, the next time you come to a game, if you can, if we can, then let me know. I'd like to meet you.
That'd be awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That's Mike Wells from Sauer Financial right now, and also the former Baylor All-Southwest Conference safety, fantastic player. Big-time player. When we come back, Meridian High School Wade Morton's their head coach. They've got work to do. We'll have Tyler Webb, the quarterback at Conley. He's committed to Idaho, one of 2 players from Central Texas who did that over the weekend. And this is Sikkim 365 Radio. If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace, also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christian London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna. And now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere. And yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
All right, here we go. We close out this 4 o'clock hour. Meridian High School. Meridian High School last year struggled Wade Morton's first year. It's been a struggle. It's been a while since they really, really have had any kind of a run. Made the playoffs in 17, 3-8 record. Chris Roberts' last year there. Wade Morton joins us now. Wade, thank you very much for being a part of the show. What, in your opinion, is different now, and how do you make that next step to get yourself in the win column and also be competitive as well?
Well, first thing, let me just say thank you for having me on today. But the biggest thing with us is just the continuity, having the same coaching staff there from last year, especially since it's my second year. I didn't want to make a lot of wholesale changes because those kids have already seen 3 different coaches in 3 years. So I thought it was very important to keep everybody on staff, coach up the coaches we got, and that way we can coach up those kids. But as far as like what I'm looking forward to this year is we have 16 returners from last year. We had a big freshman class last year. We had 10 freshmen. Right now we're down to 9. We lost one due to the past 5 months moving. But other than that, we got a lot more seniors this year. We got 5. That's more than one we had. So we're very blessed to have the kids we do. They're great kids. They work hard and they're fitting in and understanding what we're trying to get accomplished there in Meridian. So that's a good thing.
Have you seen that difference, though, in the continuity of the coaching staff already maybe start to pay dividends already?
Yes, sir, because they're coming in. They already know what I want. They know what I want done. They know how I want it coached and how hard we need to do that. So as far as like getting things done around and not having to waste time, teaching the coaches new things, so everybody on our staff is back. So that's the great thing about going into the second year. Everybody's on the same page.
Coach, can you imagine, given all the outlying circumstances, what it would have been like had this been your first year and what all coaches are facing right now?
Hey, you know what? We just try to have as fun as we can with those kids and love on them and make sure they have everything they need. And the biggest thing over the past 5 months is just the kids were really good about getting on Zoom, Google Meet, doing whatever we had to do to communicate with them, besides text, and making a phone call. We would get, have team meetings and things like that. So being a first-year guy, if I was going into it this year, I'd be like, what the heck did I get myself into? But, no, I mean, it's fun. I've talked to a couple of guys that are new this year, especially a guy out at Hubbard. And, he gets his first job during the pandemic. You can't do no better than that, right?
No, and we had Roger on Friday, and he's he's a character now. Yeah, that was one of my favorite segments. I didn't even realize this when he was a young coach, and I was, I guess, a lot younger as well. We sat next to each other in a press box watching a football game, and I didn't even realize.
Really?
Yeah, when he was at Iola, I guess. I actually was a coach at Iola at the time, but.
Yeah, and I've run into him a couple of times when I was at Normandy with Coach Cordis because we would play Iola. We were in the same district with him, so I'm pretty familiar with him.
We brought up that big, huge running back. Were you young enough back then to remember the kid named McDougal? There was a running back.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's done.
He's becoming legendary.
Yeah, this guy
just shows our shows on Friday with Roger, and also, he was a beast now, no question. You're from this area. You went to school at Clifton. You're right next door, obviously, to Meridian. How much does that help? At least you kind of know the landscape.
Well, I mean, it's really easy to build relationships with the kids because most of the parents that I have right now, they were in school when I was in school, and or they have older kids. A lot of the younger groups. That's where I've seen it the most. Is a lot of the parents have younger kids, so they're coming up through the Pee Wee programs. I go out there and I watch the Pee Wee guys. Give them stickers for their helmets, whatever we got to do, just build relationships with those kids. Because I mean, I'm going to have them. I mean, I'm not planning on going anywhere, so I want to build a program. So. I mean, I know what's in front of us. I know what we got to do, and it's just one of those things. You just got to roll with it and go. So, but yeah, I mean, I love it around here. My parents still live in Clifton. My grandparents still are around in Clifton. My wife is from Meridian, so and her parents still live outside of town. So it's a good thing.
Coach, who are some of the players that are, standouts for you that you're going to be relying upon that you feel are poised to have perhaps a nice year?
Well, our starting linebacker, Anthony Gonzalez, he's about 6'2", 205. I moved him to running back, so he's going to be a load back there to tackle. As far as our quarterback situation, I really have two pretty good guys right now. Dylan Poole, he's a senior. He didn't even start before last year at quarterback, but he got that 10-game experience, and he's been putting in the work, going to camps when he can, since all this stuff broke out. But he's really become a more accurate passer and a leader. As far as our sophomore group, I mean, that's the group right there. We had 10 of them last year. Unfortunately, we lost one of them, but they're solid as can be. For sophomores, they're very mature. They're there every morning, 7:30 in the morning. We don't have to wait on them. They pretty much, besides the seniors we got, they pretty much lead that group. So, but the guy I'm looking at right now is his name's Michael Crawford. He's going to be splitting time with Dylan at quarterback, but he's also so versatile. You can put him anywhere on the field, and he can do some pretty good things. So those are probably the top three guys that people probably see in the paper, things like that. But we got so many guys like a Victor Roscoe, Tegan Smith. I mean, those two seniors right there are as good as gold for us as well.
Hey, Wade, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
No
Good
problem.
luck with what
No
you're doing.
problem.
You got a bunch of guys back that learned, a lot about football, and hopefully they're bigger, better, faster, stronger. And good luck with you, and thanks for your time today.
Hey, thank y'all for having me on.
Wade Morton, head coach at Meridian High School, played at Clifton. That's where he's from. Went to school at Tarleton State. A lot of the coaches around here in Central and West Texas, of course, have done that as well. I just did get a text back from Tristan Abram. He's the head coach at Mejia. You had the story earlier today that we saw with Channel 25 about them canceling practice until further notice. Let's get an update from him, Paul. Is that okay in the next segment to start off the 5 o'clock hour? We also have Connolly quarterback Tyler Webb in a conversation with me from earlier today. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, AJ, the sales rep. I know he listens quite a bit. I don't know if he's listening right now. If he is, he'll let me know. And if he's not, I'll let him know. Right now, you can get all sorts of fantastic deals in August, including the new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. The most awarded SUV in the world is the Jeep Grand Cherokee. 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. You could also get the offer on the Cherokee, the Renegade, and the Compass among the umbrella of Jeep. Right now, a lot of dealerships are struggling with the inventory. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, is loaded up because they have multiple locations in 5 different states and relationships with dealers across the country to find whatever car, truck, or SUV you want. And, of course, on board 100% to give you a safe shopping experience in person, or you can go online, apply, and also they'll deliver a car you want to test drive or you buy at AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. Alan Samuels, an FCA Customer First Award of Excellence winner by J.D. Power. Only a handful of dealers across the United States to win the award. Loop 340, east of 84, Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas. Here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through. And business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great price chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Miro Heiskanen. There's Hintz flying down that left side. Hintz to the net stop. Rebound out in front. Dickinson scores. Jason Dickinson has tied it for Dallas.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We start this 5 o'clock hour. The head football coach at Mejia, the Black Cats at Paul Pewitt last year, played for a state championship. And Tristan Abram, good friend, joins the show on Sikkim 365 Radio. We saw the story earlier, Tristan. Wanted to get it straight from you. I saw it on KXXV's sports department about practices being shut down because of a positive COVID case. Can you kind of take us through the timeline and the story?
Yes, sir. Well, just to be clear, so to put out any fires or possible rumors, the reason we shut down is because we have an athlete who had been around a family member who tested positive. There is not a positive case that is within our program.
Great.
We're just taking all the necessary precautions to make sure that we're keeping kids safe, and that's ultimately, and that's the conversation I had with the kids today. Is ultimately, we really don't want to admit it, but ultimately this was going to occur at some point in time, and we just got to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep these young men and young women safe, and following all the protocols that are put out by UIL, TEA, and the CDC.
Like you said, it was going to happen eventually somewhere. At least you're having it now before the season starts. Does this kind of give you an idea of what you'll have to do should it happen again? Knock on wood that it doesn't.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I would like to think that this is a practice run at it, because we are awaiting the test results for the athlete that was around the family member, but I'm just praying and claiming that it's going to be a negative result. And as far as our team goes, we're learning the process of what could take place
if the unfortunate situation occurs again in the future where we have to go through this, and if nothing else, we can preach, been there, done that. Let's have a positive mindset, and move forward, and focus on the next opponent.
Coach, I know we're always constantly learning, as you just mentioned, with everything that occurs, but has it been about what you thought, or what has it been like knowing all the precautions, all the safety measures and everything? Like, just what has that experience been like?
It's a little different. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. God created us to be social beings, and especially whenever you shut school down and in March and tell kids to socially distance, to stay away from one another. As you can imagine, they naturally gravitate towards one another and want to be in that personal space. And we have to remind, hey guys, we got to have our mask up and all those types of things. So it's I mean, to be honest, it is a little challenging. But with that being said, it's one of those things where it will become second nature soon enough. And for the most part, there are quite a bit of guys that are that are reminded as they take off their helmet or whatever. They're not being active. They're pulling their mask up and taking those precautions. But it's just one of those things that these teenagers live their lives 14, 15 to 18 years, and here they are. You're throwing something new on them that obviously has not been a part of their lives. So it just takes a little bit of time to get used to what we are beginning to call the new norm. But prayerfully, these things will take away, or will be taken away, and we won't have to continue to go through these types of things.
I love the way you're handling this, and it's not a surprise because I know what you've done and how quickly you've been able to move from one place to another to what you're doing now at Mexia. So to clarify, there was a student athlete who was around a family member who tested positive for COVID. Is that correct? Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
We do not have a positive COVID case in our program.
That's great.
We do not.
And if that comes back negative, do you how long do you know? Because these testing, if you got a lot of money, you could find out in 30 minutes. But obviously,
you are exactly right.
Yeah,
I have learned that. Believe it or not, within the last hour, I have learned that.
If you were playing in the NBA, you would know pretty quickly. But in all due seriousness, how long do you think before you get the result back? And if let's say I don't know if it's tonight, tomorrow, you're supposed to scrimmage. I know that's kind of irrelevant right now, but if it does come back negative, you have a scrimmage this week, right?
Correct. Now, based on the guidelines put in place by UIL and TEA, the young man actually does have to go into quarantine, even if the test comes back negative. But everyone else, we will resume as we will move forward. So it really we're just waiting those results. And again, it's those precautionary measures that are put in place to make sure that we are doing everything that we're supposed to do and that we can do to keep these young men safe and to ensure that not only their well-being here, but their homes in which they come from.
Tristan, thank you, and good luck and getting through this, and also hopefully with things getting back to normal, which we were hoping we were going to do anyway. But you're right, you guys are kind of like I don't want to say like a test tube, but in a way, the way you handle it though, you separate it and you stop,
yes, sir,
and you wait, and then you figure it out and you move onward. Thanks for your time. We'll hope to talk football next time you're on with us. Okay.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me on. You guys have a great day.
Tristan Abram, the head coach at Mexia. So that's good. It's clarified. It's someone who's around a family member who tested positive for COVID.
Well, and it's good that he comes on and clarifies, because people can read a tweet and be like, well, that's it. All 50 kids on the Mexia team, or how many they have, they've all got it. Then that's what people will hear, but that's not.
Mary Hardin Baylor is going to open up their season, by the way, on February the 6th. Remember, they're going to play like 5 games in football in Jackson, Mississippi at Bellhaven.
Well, that'd be fun weather. That's one thing about playing in that springtime or those early parts of the year, like UMHB will do and many others will as well, is Be pretty cold, but it's going to be like late in the season, so be kind of similar to that. It's just going to be the start of your season, but that's great. They're at least making some progress as well.
Mm-hmm. No question about it.
And they don't travel that often, UMHB. Like, they typically have they do travel on occasion, but I know, like, the last couple years, they've had, like, the majority of their games are home games, if I'm remembering correctly. They travel on occasion, but it's not like as much as like Baylor would or teams in the Big 12 would. So opening up with a road game in February, it's going to be interesting.
I think, I read a couple of different, national writers that said there's an argument to be made for the lower classifications to just use this as their time to move to the spring and get some eyeballs on them.
Yeah.
It would only matter for the few guys that would wind up in the NFL.
Right.
But even then, if you were done by a certain time and maybe had Major League Baseball draft rules for them, where if you're in the Major League Baseball draft, you play in the College World Series.
Yep.
Yeah.
UMHB last year, their first 3 games were at home. They played at Abilene, at home, played at Georgetown, which is right down the road, Belton at home, Pineville, Louisiana, Belton at home. Then they played at Alpine, which, of course, is not close for anybody, to close out the regular season. The last 3 games, they were at home.
Yeah, see,
to close out the year.
They play a lot of home games and in a beautiful venue, so I'd want to play there as much as possible too. But that'll be a nice little opening contest for them, and they got a lot of time to prepare. That's a ways away now, although we all have seen how quickly time can go by, so that'll be here before we know it.
We'll have Tyler Webb in a moment. By the way, I thought this was as cool. I get up this morning getting ready, and I see on my timeline Mike Golick, the former morning talk show host, a long time with Mike Greenberg and then with Trey Wingo, on his Twitter feed at 6:09 this morning. That's Eastern time, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Best of luck to Zubin at Real J. Williams and Keyshawn Johnson as they start their morning show journey. Here's a guy that was forced out. Here's a guy that had his co-host want to become more of a TV guy, which is trying to move his career on in Greenberg. Maybe as loyal to ESPN as anyone's ever been. And he gets up in the morning because his hours are still, when you do morning radio, and he tweets that out.
For 20 years, you get up in the morning at 3 o'clock whenever he's probably gotten up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I think Golick's really good. I think Greenberg's good for what he does in certain roles. But when that whole split happened and they started that morning show, and I don't know, I have not even heard a blip because ESPN really hasn't mattered. You know what I mean? And the network itself and the shows as nearly as much as when there's actually that normal schedule. So shows like Get Up or whatever don't get as much attention. But when Greenberg made that move, I just thought no, I don't, that's not how, you are more suited for radio. I didn't think the TV morning gig was really his lane, but I guess he's having success, I suppose. And it's a shame that they broke up, but I do think that Golick has handled it with immense class for sure.
Did anyone see the ESPN documentary on Alex Smith? The injury, what he dealt with, it looked like his leg was basically just rotted to the bone. He was, that was November the 18th when he was, he broke his leg against the Cowboys. Was it against, who was it against? Not against Dallas. Whoever it was, doesn't matter. He got sepsis, which nearly took his life. Spent the next month in the hospital, 3 months in a wheelchair, 8 months in an external fixator, 17 surgeries, 9 months over that time, 17 surgeries within 9 months. He was cleared over the weekend to begin workouts. Now, he still has the sheath over his leg. Yeah, the sleeve. Not sure exactly how that's going to work out, but he's Redskins. He's on their roster.
Yeah, I saw a video of him over the weekend. He was walking outside into his driveway, and his son, I suppose it's his son, comes running up, and the whole family was sitting there waiting for him, and they've got champagne or whatever, and they're spraying him with it, and you can still tell, he had the leg sleeve on, and he's ducking the champagne or whatever, and you can still tell there's a little bit of a hitch in his giddy up. So I wonder how close to 100% he'll ever be again. But the point that he's reached already is just absolutely miraculous that he's even where he is. So good for him. I mean, if you're not rooting for Alex Smith to one day see the field again, then you really have no heart at all, because what a great story that is, and what a great example he's setting for his children as well, as far as perseverance and not giving up.
He could, if Haskins could use that experience.
Haskins is no sure thing.
Yeah.
I was excited about that pick when when Washington made it, because I just felt they needed to change a quarterback, but, I mean, he's far from a sure thing, that's for sure.
Also, over the weekend, this is Craig's alley, his lane. Daniel Cormier was beaten by Stipe Miocic.
Good enough.
Unanimous decision, said he probably won't fight again because all he wants to do is fight for championships.
Yeah, he's going to retire, but in the fight game, never say never. There's always a chance that he could come back if the right fight presented itself. Maybe another go-around with John Jones or something, even though he hadn't been successful in those contests. But it was a good little fight. Stipe had an inadvertent eye poke at one point, and Daniel's eye was messed up. Like in the last part of that fight, he was definitely pretty much fighting out of one eye. Had to go to the hospital afterwards, and you can see in the pictures of it looks like it hurts bad. I mean, you even get a little tiny scratch on your eye. That is painful. And he had full-on finger poke in the eye, so he had to get checked out. But, yeah, he's planning on retiring, it looks like, because of what you just said. And if so, what a fantastic career that he had. A former Olympic wrestler. He had to bow out of the Olympics at one point because had a really bad weight cut. And those are obviously very dangerous. He was not really well known when he entered MMA. He was broke, sitting there with just no money whatsoever, no direction, decided to start training MMA. And even though he had never really boxed ever in his life, he was a first-class amateur wrestler at Oklahoma State and the Olympics, and turned into a hell of a career for him. So he's got no shame. He wasn't like my favorite fighter to watch. There was a lot of times I watched him and I was just bored out of my mind because of his style, but that doesn't mean I didn't respect his style. He was fantastic, and if that was his last fight, then he put it all on the line for sure.
By the way, TJ, who loves the UFC stuff with you, he said Paul followed him on Twitter.
I did.
Very nice.
He said there's now 2 of the 3 of us who follow TJ on Twitter.
I guess that's me. So
I had to go check because TJ
now that I've been
sends
called
me.
out, I don't know that I'll be hurrying to do it, quite frankly.
He sends me snake videos all the time. Did you hear the snake that was in the toilet? Big, large, huge snake, and a guy had a golf club trying to kind of. If that happens, you sell the house or burn it.
It happens in Australia all the time. So I know that that's not a place that you would ever want to live.
There's one story, and that was a freaky video, and people were questioning because the snake was coming out of like the hole at the bottom of the toilet, but it was like on the opposite side from where I guess most people's are. Like I guess the hole's like in the back part of the toilet, but this was coming up from the front, and so people were like, "This is a rigged video," because no, there's toilets that are like that. But that was if you're sitting there and you look down, and that gum snake is coming up through the pipes, man, like that. I don't know that I would make it through that alive. I think my heart would just explode and be like, we're done here. But we have not mentioned the news over the weekend on the Saliva Direct test that the NBA partnered with, who was it? Yale. Yes, the Saliva Direct test. Well, today the FDA has authorized the use of the Saliva Direct test that was developed for people who have no symptoms of COVID-19. It's got what they believe is around a 90% accurate rate, the same as the nose and throat swabs, but this is just a spit test. So you just give a saliva sample. You don't have to have that Q-tip stuck into your brain like the videos that we've seen. They could send up to 2,000, or they can process up to 200,000 samples a day. The NBA has obviously helped out with this as far as like the bubble. They had those daily COVID tests, and they had players and staff volunteer to give saliva samples to be able to help move this on along. So Yale analyzed those, and they found that those results stacked up to the same swab test. So now there is a much easier, much less painful, and much more accessible alternative with a high percentage rate of being accurate. So this is an absolute game changer potentially. Even though COVID's apparently starting to mutate a little bit, but this could be like the saving grace for college programs and everybody who's trying to get better testing and quicker testing. And also their plan is to roll out 100,000, 200,000 tests a day potentially, and that would mean a lot more testing going around than's going on right now. And also, they're not in this to make money. This is not the typical American way of, hey, let's create something really great and then charge people to death for it because of greed, which is the biggest problem in this country. More than anything else is the greed. But this would be about $10, and they're not going to bump it up, they say. So that would be incredible if this can turn out to be what it looks like.
Because the Big 12 is going to plan, 3 times a week during the season?
Think about it. That's suddenly $30 a player versus whatever it was, and all you're doing is spitting into a tube.
Yeah, and you don't have to, get a thing in your brain.
Yeah.
So
and quicker results back apparently as well, I believe.
Yeah. By the way, if I were the press conference at Yale today, I would have just thrown a couple of barbs out there, but listen, we are so proud to be in the Ivy League with people who didn't do this, like Harvard and Princeton.
No question.
If I was Yale, I would have gone up there and just dropped the mic because they may have done that.
2 or 3 stories from today. Let's clarify just in case the Mejia story. Thanks for Tristan Abram. They closed their practices down for right now. There's a player, a student athlete, who was near or around a family member who tested positive. So they're waiting for the test result back. He is not positive. At least they hope not. The test result will reflect that or not. So they're closing that down at least until they get the positive or the result back. And if it's negative, he will still be quarantined. Everyone else starts to move forward. I tweeted this out earlier today with sources within Baylor Athletics Administration. Louisiana Tech is who they want, and that's who Louisiana Tech wants as well. Baylor to start the year September 12th. If, in fact, the Conference USA can arrange a little bit of a schedule change, La Tech is supposed to play Southern Miss September 12th. They need to move that game around. And also there's a possibility they need to move a game with UNT, North Texas, around as well. If, in fact, they can get that done, Baylor La Tech will happen. That's why there's kind of a holdup there. If, in fact, they can't get to that point, the next options for Baylor will be a couple of members of the Southland Conference, most likely Stephen F. Austin, which has lost their games, although they do play SMU, I think, at one point. Is that game still on? And Abilene Christian lost their game against Texas A&M.
North Carolina Athletics has released a statement after the news today of them having to shut down in-person classes for at least the foreseeable future due to over 100 cases. And I remember seeing that, part of this was outbreaks in the fraternity and sorority houses, or at least one fraternity house, I believe. And the Greek life is, to me, what's going to get college football season canceled, because those students don't care. They're there for reasons other than athletics, quite frankly. And athletics is just a bonus to what they want to do, which is party and do all of that. So big outbreak at North Carolina. Everybody's freaking out over it, obviously. And they are a part of the ACC, which is planning on playing. They just released a statement that says, our student athletes will continue to attend online classes and may choose to remain in their current on or off-campus residences. Workouts and practices will continue under the standards set by the university, health officials, and department. We're still expecting to play this fall, and we will continue to evaluate the situation in coordination with the university, ACC, state and local officials, health officials. Health and safety remains our priority.
All right, so those are some of the stories from earlier today. When we come back, there were a slew of players, high school players around Central Texas who committed to play college football the last 3 to 4 days. One of them is Connolly quarterback Tyler Webb. I had a chance to visit with him earlier. That interview with Tyler Webb next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access, drive-through open, clean, convenient in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco. They've got Balcones in stock. They've got fantastic stuff. The drive-through is so easy. I love going to the drive-through, just telling them what I want. They give it to me, swipe the card, and on my way. And if you're a craft beer fan, my gosh, go on in there, walk around in the fridge, find what you like, and get it. They're awesome. They're also great about if you say you want to you want to have a wine to pair with your dinner, and you're not necessarily a wine person, or you're trying to get a gift for somebody who's a wine person. They're fantastic at telling you, hey, here's a good one, this one's really popular. If you like this, you like that. They know all that stuff, so they can make that part of your life a lot easier as well. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated in a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Conley, senior quarterback Tyler Webb with me on Sikkim 365 Radio. So you jet lagged? You go to Idaho up in the big Northwest and I guess had a fun weekend, but how do you feel this morning? You've already been at practice.
I feel great. It was a great day of practice, and I don't know, I just got a lot of adrenaline, a lot of excitement. You know, it's not game week, it's scrimmage week, but, you know, you treat it like game week, so there's a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement.
You've had people who are interested in you, but how did the communication with Coach Petrino and Idaho begin, and when did it actually get enough where you decided to go make a trip?
So Coach Petrino and Coach Tracy at Idaho, they offered me in March, and ever since then it's been constant communication with those guys, and just about every other day they really make me feel like they believe in me, and that's what's most important. Is I want to play for someone who believes in me and wants me. And for over a couple months, it's just those relationships just get better and better, and I wanted to be a Vandal.
Did you have any thought about, okay, we're about to maybe, you hope, start playing games and then let this thing ride out, or is it important for you to get this out of the way, kind of compartmentalize that so you could focus in on the season?
I didn't really have a plan. You know, a lot of people like to commit before the season. A lot of people like to play and see what happens. I'm not really a fan of either or. I just wanted to just wait until I felt it in my heart, and that happened this weekend. So it wasn't planned to do it before the season. It's just how it happened.
You go up there and you see the views and the scenery of that beautiful part of the country, which a lot of people haven't been to. I don't know if you've ever been up there before or not, but what was it like when you landed and you're on your way in and you saw kind of the surroundings?
Oh, man, it was beautiful. I mean, the tall trees and a lot of rolling hills and the land, I liked it. It was some parts of it. So I was born in East Texas, right? So there were some parts where reminded me a lot of that with the tall trees, and then it would switch and there would be no trees and just land. And then I was like, hey, well, that's kind of like here too, except here it's flat and there it's rolling. So it was cool to see similar but so different at the same time, and it was just beautiful.
What did Coach Paul Petrino say to you that made you realize, okay, they believe in me and I need to commit and believe in them?
So a couple weeks ago, I had sent him a couple clips of me working out, and his response was, "That's great stuff. He said, "That's great stuff. We need you to, it was either I need you or something like we want you to come be QB for the Vandals." And at that moment, it was just like, wow, that's a head coach for a program saying he wants me to come be their quarterback, and I just felt good, and that feeling carried on, and that was it. Great feeling. There are
like 6, 7, 8 young men around this area. A bunch from La Vega. Of course, Elijah Cummings, who was there now at Riker. You, among some others who made these commitments. Of course, Demarion Alexander last week, I guess, from China Spring made a commitment to play at Kansas. It seemed like it was like, is that kind of like that push before you guys scrimmage? And not that everyone talked to each other, but it seems like it's been a really impressive week for Central Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really feeling any pressure from other guys committing or anything. It was just, I'm sure everyone else would tell you the same thing. You just have the feeling, and you just know. I guess we all just happen to have it at the same time. And it's awesome for Cummings to be a Vandal too. And so actually, Cummings, Demarion, and a couple of those guys at La Vega, all of us played the same select basketball team from the 3rd grade and up. And so it's crazy as we were all basketball players then, and now we're all committing to play college football now, and so it's crazy.
Did Elijah text you? Did you guys go back and forth on that?
Well, as soon as I had finished my visit up there, I texted him as soon as I committed and was telling him how awesome it was, and then a little while later he said, "You know what, T, I'm gonna be a Vandal too," and it was just really cool.
You are here for the first time. How did the players this morning? Some of them probably know you committed, and how have you been accepted here? Because this was something that you kind of moved into transition sometime during the spring, and nobody was around because everything was shut down. How have you been accepted here at Conway?
Man, I feel like I've been here for years. These guys, I mean, I've known a lot of these guys just mutually, right? Just from being in the area, playing with and against them for different stuff. But these guys are really special over here. I feel like I've been here for years, and whenever I committed, I got so many texts and calls from my teammates. It's insane. And then coming here in the morning, it's one thing, because you have your support group and everyone's going to be happy for you, but it's crazy when your whole team is just so happy for you. And that's what I feel like is going to be a difference for us this season, is we truly are a family. And I feel like I've been a part of this family for a much longer time than I have been.
Everyone knows your journey. You bounced around. There's no question about that. You've been in the China Springs School District, in Bosqueville, and Midway, and now here. How has that been to not be like, I went to 3 high schools in 4 years, but my dad was military, so the government, we moved whenever we moved. How has that been?
I haven't had a problem with it. I mean, I have made great friendships at all 3 high schools I've been at. I mean, at Bosqueville, at Midway, I mean, I have friendships that are going to last a long time, and that's, in my opinion, that's one of the most important things in life, is finding people who truly care for you and who you truly care about, because that's priceless, you know. And I've been fortunate enough to experience different cultures and different people, and I have friends from all different backgrounds, all different places, and at the end of the day, I'm thankful for my journey, and I've always been a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and God's gonna make it right.
You played a lot at Bosqueville. You didn't get to throw but like 15 passes last year. You had a handful of runs or whatever. You were there going through all the process, but you didn't play a lot. Do you feel like that set you back, or do you feel like you are still, the player you want to be right now?
We'll see. I got injured, right, with the high ankle sprain, and at first we didn't realize it was a high ankle sprain, so I tried to push through it for 2 weeks, and that made it a lot worse than what it was. So what I could have been out for about 6 weeks, and I would have been able to finish, ended up being in a boot for like 10 to 12, and then tried to come back in basketball, but it was a little early, and then I was out for another like 4 weeks. And so of course that's really tough, but as soon as I was healthy and ready to go, I made it a goal of mine in the offseason. It's like, obviously my speed and agility and even jumping too is going to be set back a little, but I don't want to just regain to what I was. I want to push it and be better. And so I've really, really worked hard on those three things: my agility, speed, and explosiveness. And a couple weeks ago, not a couple weeks ago, but towards the end of the summer, when we were doing 40s, I got my 40 time down to around a 4.55, and that was huge for me, because before I was hurt, I averaged around a 4.75, 4.78, and to have an injury like a high ankle sprain and then come back and just make that much progress, that's when I realized, man, like, I pushed through it, and I'm good now, and I'm not just back to where I was. I'm better, and then I added a couple of inches on my vertical. I've been jumping and dunking better than ever, and it's always a good, reassuring feeling when you get back to what you were, but it's just a whole nother feeling when you made an effort to not just get back there, but to be better. And I'm feeling great.
It's a fair question, and you have, because you have moved around a lot, you've committed to Idaho. I ask this to anyone who ever commits to play college football or athletics anywhere. Is this it? Your commitment is your commitment.
Yes, sir. I think so. I love the Vandals, man, and I'm ready to play for Coach Petrino and have some fun up there in the big sky.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tyler Webb, Conley quarterback, committed to Idaho. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. David Smoke, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke as well. So Waco Custom Marketplace, they're becoming a Twitter thing. If you know anything about buying meat products, beef, steaks, tri-tip, brisket, and yet, again, it seems like I always refer to 2 or 3 different people, yet it's a lot of other people involved. So Taylor Bryan showed me a picture. He's got one of those big green eggs. He did a reverse sear with a tri-tip. He was petrified. But when you buy beef from Waco Custom Marketplace, you can't screw it up. And so he did his first ever tri-tip, and it was just perfect. Delicious, moist, and tender. And he's learning that from Brian Etheridge, who's become basically the spokesperson, not me, but him, for Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive. Customize whatever cut of beef you want. They have poultry, they have pork, and they have seafood. But my God, what they do in the beef department is amazing. Steaks, brisket, tri-tip, and more. If you want something as simple as hamburger meat, yes, they have that as well. Then in the bakery section, fresh baked bread every day, plus kolaches and, well, the sweets, the treats, that you get with cookies and pies and much more, plus the pre-made meals that are large portions that will fill anybody up and have extra as well. Waco Custom Marketplace, your hometown grocery store, 425 Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
The biggest summer sale is still on at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels in Waco. The summer clearance event is where there's still 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on almost everything. The world's most awarded SUV is on sale. Jeep Grand Cherokee with 0 for 72 financing and no payments for 90 days. Or choose Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Renegade, or Jeep Compass. All 0 for 72. Update your ride and save at Allen Samuels.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go. This 5 o'clock hour winding down. Craig's going to update you on some NBA stuff. Games are going on. A couple of games now, I think, are finals. Mavericks play tonight. Stars with an incredible last-second goal in the third period to force overtime and win to tie that up at 2 apiece. Rangers are playing okay.
Yeah.
You know, they're at 500.
You know what, though? They got guys playing out of position. They've got some major issues with their middle infield. Elvis and Odor aren't cutting it, man.
No.
Odor in particular, but Elvis isn't much better. And, I mean, it's bad enough you've already got guys playing probably where they shouldn't be playing, but the Odor thing is just at this point, I just have no hope for him.
It's
Elvis
over, man.
is on the other side of his career, and I love Elvis. I absolutely love Elvis Andrus, but yeah, the Odor thing, I think we've seen enough at this point. But yeah, they're hanging around. I mean, they're hanging around, and that's all you can really ask for at this point. So, you know, they've at least provided some entertainment and have kept it somewhat interesting, but they've got some major things to address this offseason.
You focused on Iowa State, and I want you guys, I know, Craig, you got scores, but Stephen Vaughn, who listens to us, he's on the text line a lot. Can I ask you a question? Why do people take Iowa State seriously? Outside of the quarterback, they're outmatched by most other schools in the Big 12. They don't recruit Texas well. They've never won anything in the Big 12 football related. So why does media outlets, Heartland College Sports, others, believe Iowa State and push the narrative Brock Purdy can't make the Big 12 title by himself? I said it's because of the reputation and how many people respect Matt Campbell.
He sent me the same thing, and I said the same thing. It's Matt Campbell. People like Matt Campbell. And Randy Peterson told me today, he said that this is the year that Matt Campbell kind of had earmarked for this team can probably have more staying power than the other ones.
It's a Matt Campbell thing, and I wouldn't be quick to dismiss, regularly winning 8 games a year at Iowa State. I mean, I think that that's an accomplishment to a certain extent. Now, does that mean that they should be touted as potential Big 12 champs? No, because I don't have that faith in them right now either. But on paper, and having a quarterback like Purdy and a coach like Campbell, I think that that's where the optimism comes from. But I'm with you. I mean, I don't expect them to compete. I mean, I think everybody in the Big 12, for the most part, with only 10 teams, has a chance to compete in what is just a weird year that we don't really know what it's going to look like just yet. But I'm with you on like a little bit too much Iowa State love. At the same time, though, like I said, great coach, really good quarterback, and winning 8 games a year. My thing with them is, when are they going to get over the 8 games a year? And I know that's easier said than done because a lot of programs would be content with just 8 wins a year. But at some point, if you are as good as you are given all this attention for, then yeah, you need to break through and go win 9 or 10 and play in the Big 12 title game.
That's why the bitterness developed, not just because of the Shade Gate or Tent Gate or whatever it was. It was because Baylor stepped in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Baylor stepped in the door when that was supposed to be Iowa State's door, and Iowa State's still a very good football team, and that was a fortunate win for Baylor.
Well,
Blew a 20-0 lead.
I think Baylor or Iowa State and Oklahoma State got a little tick because they thought that, at least, and of course Texas is always going to be mad when they're not doing well, but I think that those schools thought that, like, with Baylor dropping off, and all right, so they were 7-6 with Matt Rule. All right, that was fine. They probably had enough guys on the roster to get back to that, but they didn't expect them to be in the Big 12 title game and undefeated for most of the year last year, and a juggernaut in the league. That just wasn't. It was their time, and then Baylor kind of stepped in front of them in line because they were supposed to fall off for a couple years. That's what happens to Iowa State, right?
Well, I think
I mean, in their history, they'll
and they're
get
also
good.
going to be a school that if they win, okay, what happens if they win so much and they lose Matt Campbell?
Well, yeah. So in the history of Iowa State and schools that size, they win, and their coach leaves and goes somewhere else, and then they drop off for a while. Well, Baylor dropped off for one year without a bowl game. So,
yeah, and I think that, to your point, a lot of people expected them. Paul, I don't think they expected them to be down for a year or two. I think they expected them to just be back to the old Baylor, for good. And so, hey, let's relegate them back down. We don't have to worry about them for a while. And it's like, wait a second. And we all know how much everybody just loved 1-11 and how much people just consumed that year and were so happy to see the struggles and the losses and everything like that. And so for them to come back and then punch some people in the mouth and show that, hey, we're now winning 7 games a year removed, and hey, there's actually something building, and then do what they did last year, and to have the types of wins that they did. I think if they would have just beaten the mess out of Iowa State, there still would have been some certain Cyclone fans that just don't like Baylor in general, but the fact that they feel like they got robbed or whatever just added more fuel to the fire. And I apologize, Matt Campbell won 7 games last year. He had 8 in the 2 years before that. Last time they finished in the postseason AP Top 25 was the year 2000, Iowa State. So, yeah, maybe a little bit too much rub for a team that hasn't quite gone over that hump. They haven't won a bowl game since 2017. I mean, that's only 3 years ago, but still, when they've gotten to bowl games the last 2 years, they've lost both of those games. So,
but even then, Purdy,
he gets way more love than Charlie Brewer. I know that much.
Yeah, he does. But it was still Ellinger, who we knew was going to be, because
that's
Oklahoma didn't have a returning quarterback.
Plus, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. No, Ellinger deserves a lot, earned a lot of what he's getting, but that was also a part of it. But Purdy is a guy that, I think it's Matt Campbell. That was one of the things. Now, Craig, update us on the NBA.
Yeah, so 2 games in the books today as the NBA playoffs fully get underway. Denver beat Utah 135-125. Nuggets lead that series 1-0. Raptors lead their series against the Nets now 1-0. They won 134-110. That game was basically a 20-point lead like the entire time. We got the Sixers and Celtics now underway early on in the first quarter, so that one's tied at 14. And then, of course, later on tonight at 8, it will be the nightcap Mavericks against the Clippers, game number 1 of that series. Meanwhile, in the NHL, we have right now in progress, early second period, the Avalanche up 3-0 on the Coyotes. So they're looking to put that one to bed and go up 3-1 in that series. So that's where we stand with the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. Later on tonight, got Bruins and Hurricanes, Blues and Canucks, and there was one final earlier today. Lightning beat the Blue Jackets 2-1. So the Lightning now lead that series 3-1.
Go Bolts.
All right.
By the way, statement from North Carolina Athletics. Our student athletes will continue to attend online classes and may choose to remain in their current on- and off-campus residences. Workouts and practices will continue under the standards set by our university, health officials, and department. We are still expecting to play this fall, and we will continue to evaluate the situation in coordination with the university, the ACC, state and local officials, and health officials. The health and safety of our student athletes, coaches and staff, and community remains our priority. So there. I don't know why they always have to put that at the end of things. Like if you didn't, people would be like, you don't care.
Because of social media.
Yeah, I guess you got to just reassure all the nervous Nancys out there that you're really doing it for the right reasons. I don't know why that always has to be on there. It's just kind of something that's almost part of the draft when they start to put it together. It's like, oh, yeah, that's already included at the end before we write anything else. But no, North Carolina will be an interesting situation to monitor, as will, the Big Ten very loudly lashing out against Kevin Warren, new commissioner, over the weekend. A lot of schools, a lot of parents of football players who have signed, these documents, I guess, wanting more information and wanting to know why exactly the Big Ten took the course that they did. Brett McMurphy had this tweet just a second ago saying that, according to a Power 5 source, you think it's bad now for the Big Ten? If the other 3 leagues are playing in October, it will be 10 times worse for them.
Oh, it would be brutal.
Yeah.
It would be, and should be.
And I hope it is.
Yeah.
I hope it is, because that means that the other 3 leagues are having a season, and that's what we all hope can happen.
Well, and then they're gonna keep saying, "Well, we've got a plan. We're working a plan for the spring." There are. If you just decided to ignore a question a day about how we do this, like, okay, we'll get to that later. we'll punt that on down the road. You'd eventually get to a meeting where, like, okay, now we have to answer these 10 questions about how this is viable. So we made up a 6-game schedule, and we're going to play starting on, January 10th, and we're going to end on April 10th, and that's what it's going to, April 6th, and that's what it's going to be, and we'll have this, and this is who'll win the league, and blah, 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 blah. And they say, okay, now we got to get to all our problems, and then you're undone by the second question.
Yeah. I mean, that spring season for the UMHBs, for schools like that, I think it can work. Maybe, but those big schools, I just really don't have a lot of faith in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and those conferences. I don't have a lot of faith in the spring season. I would be more than happy to be wrong. I'm not somebody who's afraid to admit when I'm wrong. So hopefully I will be, but I just think they reacted way too quickly, and I know that a decision had to come, but I think when you look at what the Big 12 did, they were sitting there getting raked over the coals for taking their time, which they didn't take that much time, quite frankly. They made their announcement a couple of days after everybody else did, but they took their time, they saw the lay of the land, and they just said, we're not making a decision as though we're going to cancel outright or we're moving forward no matter what. They just said, hey, we're going to keep going until told otherwise or till numbers tell us otherwise. And look at them right now and look at the Big Ten right now. I think the Big Ten made a mistake in calling it quits early. Time will tell. Maybe Kevin Warren's like the athletic director of the year when this is all said and done. He looks like not athletic director, but a conference commissioner of the year when all is said and done, and he looks like a genius. But I'm having a harder and harder time seeing that with the way things are going right now. Not a great way to start off your tenure as a Big Ten commissioner, especially the footsteps that you're filling.
Especially if he, with all due respect to him, how much would Mike Slive have been bullied?
No.
Larry Scott, I'm not so sure about, and we know that Delaney wouldn't.
No. I think Delaney, if you said something about him, he would just send you like a picture of somebody's broken fingers. I mean, this could be you.
And we know with Bowlesby, I mean, he's there as the mouthpiece of the schools. That's basically what he is. And so we can't put too much on the commissioners, but I think when you're somebody like Kevin Warren who has come out and you like, I mean, let's face it. When they came out, they were acting like they were the big dog and everybody's going to follow suit and we're doing this for the right reasons. And it's turned on him in a hurry. And Bowlesby sat back. He listened to his presidents and to his ADs and to his coaches and all that. And I think ultimately, until proven otherwise, they've made the right decision. And you can still never explain to me how it's okay for Big Ten teams to practice all this time but not be playing games. Like somehow that's super safe.
Yeah, it's because it's all
BS.
Yeah, it's all kids are be on campus. We're going to still practice. We're going to play games because somehow the likelihood that playing in a mostly empty stadium against guys who are also doing the same thing is going to spread it faster than a stupid frat party.
Yeah, there's nobody more checked up on right now in college athletics than these football players and these staffs. And so, the whole thing about having fans, that's an entirely different discussion. But as far as if you're going to be able to practice on a daily basis and you're testing and the other team's testing, I realize there's a travel component, but you also have testing and you have private jets that you take to games and things like that, or buses for shorter trips. I don't know how that's off limits, but practicing every day and being on campus and all that's okay. That's never made sense to me.
Never. And we even had a high school player, A.J. Burns, who said if you weren't under the protocol, you might be out there running around the field with my guys without a mask on.
They'd be out there practicing on their own without all of the measures in place to make them safer.
And when they weren't practicing or not going through any kind of here, do this, and they would just be hanging out with each other. Mm-hmm. That's what kids do. Especially, my sister has, all her kids can't drive themselves. So the only kids they really get to interact with are the ones in the neighborhood. So, she's done a good job